too many times. In fact, they're saying, it's about dang time you put the icon over your face. That's what they're gonna say.
Well, yeah, because they're tired of seeing your pimple face.
Wow, that's like your long time.
Yeah, I got you. I got you good with that one.
Quite a zinger.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I don't know how you recover.
Yeah, no, I'll never financially recover from this.
Ever. He's gonna go crying into his wife's arms.
I'll cry in my empty office.
What?
He has a wife.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. Sometimes, you know that?
No, it makes sense all the time.
No,
my wife does have arms.
Yeah, and he can cry into her arms.
Yeah, but he doesn't cry into them often.
You don't know that?
Of course I do.
You don't know that. No one knows that.
I do. Of course I do.
I've heard reports that he, on a weekly basis, will go and cry in her arms.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I'll tell you, that's just factually incorrect.
That's straight from Lindsay.
I know that's factually incorrect.
I like genuinely this is not even like me trying to be overly masculine or anything, but I just don't cry. I honestly don't cry. It's a weird thing.
You're an emotionless pit of nothing. You know that.
Well, the problem is because he's so tall, the air is so thin up there that he can't get any.
It freezes before it gets down. No, I honestly can't remember the last time I cried over
Dawson. It freezes because your soul is cold.
I remember the last time you cried. It's when you didn't get to share the stuff from Rebel Moon.
I cried on the inside.
At least he got to go to see Rebel Moon. Shit.
Boom.
Hey, thanks for joining us again. We appreciate all the support. We'll catch you guys next time on 4Nerds.
Wow.
That's
Someone's a little butt hurt.
All right, we're done.
Someone's a tad bit butt hurt.
The force is strong with this series, according to Twitter.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well,
I saw that. I was like, oh, come on now.
Yeah. But welcome everybody. Pardon me, the icon. I'm moving and packing up stuff, so my office just looks like absolute garbage right now. So I'm just gonna go icon for a while.
It's okay, Dawson. You don't have to explain to them. Everyone knows you're moving.
I know. I just feel like it's worth explaining.
No, it's not.
Not really. I mean, we could have been talking about something interesting.
No. You've got Ryan's bare ass up here. He doesn't care.
Don't care. I got nothing.
He's probably not even wearing a right now.
Ooh. Don't make him stand up. Don't.
I think he already is.
I am standing.
It's a standing desk, isn't it?
Are you serious? You're seriously standing? Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. All this time I usually thought you were sitting. So my apologies.
Honestly, I need to get a standing desk, but I have to get it super high up.
Okay, so at work at work we have a ton, and I asked one of the engineers hey, can I take one home? And they were like, yeah, sure, for as much as it costs. And I was like, oh, okay, fuck you. Yeah, no way, I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Let's see who's all in the chat so far. We got Sean right here saying, what up, crew? Hope all's well. Hey, we got to shoot Sean a link if he's wanted to join him.
Yeah, especially because we don't have Andre. We definitely need a replacement.
Yeah, our fourth weenie isn't here yet.
Yeah, let's definitely get him a link. We got RJ. What's up, man? Saying hello.
RJ? Hello.
Hunter Iggy. Let's see. This is Steve.
Andre's biggest supporter.
Andre's biggest supporter who?
Beckett Bennett, Steve. I have no idea who any of those names are.
Oh yeah, this news dropped a couple hours ago. Someone got cast as Steve Lombard for the Superman movie.
The guy from SNL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's not very funny. He's kind of boring.
I don't even know who he is. So
I have no idea either.
He's that. God.
I don't watch SNL.
He's just an older white guy that's not funny.
I don't watch SNL enough to care.
SNL.
I haven't watched SNL.
It is not funny. It hasn't been funny since the fucking
asterisk though. The last time I laughed at something from SNL was when they did Ryan Gosling and what's his face as Beavis and Butthead. That was actually pretty funny.
I didn't see that.
I saw him. He was just in the crowd or in the audience or some shit in the costume.
I think for me it was they did that bit and Kenan Thompson was being interviewed for it. I love Kenan Thompson from the All That Days on top of Kenan and Kel, and then they took the joke even further by having Gosling and the other guy show up as Beavis and Butthead at the Fall Guy premiere. I was like, okay, that's good. That's a good running gag. Keep going with that.
Yeah. So. Honestly, I had no idea what any of those names were. We got W Wamba 85. What's up, man? We got Droga saying what's up. RJ said he didn't know I was moving, so there you go. There was someone else who needed to be in the know. There you go.
You know, he could just be saying that just to be the opposite opinion. Okay,
just to make me feel better. You know,
it's just to make you feel better. I'm sure RJ probably didn't know. I'm just giving him a hard time. He knows.
Moving to the great state of Kansas. But
like Superman.
Okay.
Exactly. Now I just gotta get ripped, and then I'll fit the part.
Now, Wamba right here. Okay, so I don't know shit about the Acolyte. I saw the trailer with I guess it's Trinity.
Carrie Ann Moss is in it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So is this supposed to take place after Order 66?
No, it's 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Okay. And is Yoda?
Or no, actually, it's 100 years before the Rise of the Empire. So it's like
no, you had it right. It's 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
So then Yoda is there.
There's the words at the beginning where it says 100 years before the Rise of the Empire.
No, they deliberately make it a part of the timeline that states it's 100 years before Phantom Menace.
Okay, they worded it weird in the intro then, but
they did. But it's I'm just going off of what I read through extensive research.
Gotcha. And we will definitely talk about the Acolyte here on the show today because I watched the first episodes today.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of writing a review for it for a website. So yeah,
gotcha. We got RJ here saying new Superman casting was announced today. Yep, we saw that one. Jamie saying smash the like button. Yes, absolutely smash the like button. We appreciate you guys.
Please and thanks.
Much appreciated. We got RJ here saying they're definitely are actually going to use Steve Lombard in the Daily Planet supporting cast, which is great to see. Yeah, I'd totally forgotten that Steve Lombard was even a thing. That was something that totally escaped my memory. Which is great to see. I just need Cat Grant cast. Let me complete. And yeah, it'd be cool to see the entire,
I got Cat Grant in My Adventures with Superman. I don't really need her in a live action setting.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I still need to sit down and watch that. I've been meaning to.
Dude, okay. After the first 3 episodes of season 2, this show very well could be in the same level of awesome as Fleischer Studios Superman and Superman in the Animated Series Superman. This is actually really fucking good.
I've heard nothing but good things.
I really like it. I really do. And this is coming from someone who's like not the biggest Superman fan, but I love Superman and animation for the most part. Yeah, dude. Like the anime influence definitely lends itself well to the Superman lore. And I really love what they're doing with the show. I think the world building and the way that they're building out how characters come to be is actually pretty ingenious. Like, do you guys care if I spoil a certain bit of episode 3 for you? Do you guys?
I feel like I've seen plenty of spoilers for it, but I still need to sit and watch.
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the 3rd episode ends with Amertek being bought by Lex Luthor.
Oh, okay.
And it's like they introduced him at the beginning of the season, and it's very interesting to see like the progression that they're taking with him. Because if you're familiar with Lex Luthor and Superman, like okay, it's pretty kind of clear the direction they're going here with this, and it's actually pretty fucking cool. They also introduced John Henry Irons as Steel in the episode. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. It's
been really great. More Steel. I feel like Steel is an underutilized character. They need to use him more.
Usually he is.
Yeah, they used a different version of the character. It's actually his niece in Superman and the Authority by Grant Morrison and Michael Janine. It's his niece that takes on the Steel moniker. And there's a couple members of the Authority as well as like Enchantress, and I just love talking about that book whenever I can because it's awesome. But yeah, like My Adventures with Superman is getting close to top tier. Oh, look at that! Look at
you say something top tier and then something not top tier shows up.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? What are you doing?
What's up, Andre?
Just getting the stove sharded, buddy.
All right.
You say stove sharded?
Let's flip
something
this
like
over.
That.
There we go. That
something
way,
like
I'm sorry.
that way Phil's looking at me.
Oh, look.
Hey, we got an even
have
better
a special guest
joining us.
Who's
cool.
Look,
look, Sean's here. Okay, let's make this a better occasion. So
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Sean?
Let's put Andre back in the middle where he belongs.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, he doesn't
I don't mind riding bitch.
He does have the Iron Man HQ right there. So
yeah, I know. I got to clean this place up.
Yeah, Andre, Sean, what's going on with you guys? How you guys' week been?
You go first.
Life, man. Life's just happening.
Yeah.
Life's just happening.
It's just happening.
It's just happening. Life's not life can be cruel sometimes, but you just gotta make the best of it.
It really can. Life can slap you across the face when you at least expect it.
But you just gotta keep moving forward and make the best of things. So
put Andre in the trunk. That's what I get. That's what I get from Axel these days.
Wow.
That's how we interact.
Wow. I mean, I
put him in the trunk.
I disagree with that, but okay.
That reminds me of a movie I watched over the weekend. More to come on that later.
Would you want good?
No, more on that later. If we decide to do a segment, I technically didn't go to a theater to watch it, but I did watch a new movie this weekend.
Okay, so we'll just call it home theater.
Sure,
So,
sure.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, my home theater system isn't too bad.
Yeah, there you go. And
It
Andre, how about you?
consists
How's your week been?
His home theater system consists of his phone and his headphones. It's like, this is badass.
It's
Yeah.
surround sound.
It's surround sound. It's like an IMAX when I hold it up to my face.
Or he's doing this with surround sound. Surround sound. Surround sound.
You got me, guys.
You got
It's
me.
like a Dolby.
Walter White status. You got me.
It's
know what
like
he
the
does?
Dolby commercial at the beginning of the theater, like all around you. It's just the phone.
No, what he does is he watches movies in the corner of his room so that the sound reflects off the walls. No, overall though, I mean, my week's been fine. It's been busy. I'm actually like 2 subscribers away from breaking 2,000 on the Nickatina Show
Congratulations.
channel.
Nice.
So all of a sudden, you know what it was? It's funny. I had a short that was out there that I made like, oh God, I don't know, like months ago. And then all of a sudden it just took off again. And right now it's sitting at like 70,000 views. And I'm just like, it's a Deadpool Wolverine short, but it just got rediscovered somehow. And now it's taken off. And yeah, I'm 2 away from 2,000. So
Well,
that's
YouTube
awesome.
will do that sometimes where it just takes one of your videos and just randomly inserts it back into the algorithm. Like there's 3
Yeah.
videos that I have from like 4 years ago that randomly that happens to. And
Hey,
that
RJ,
people are
that's
like,
cool, dude. That's cool. I like that. I haven't seen it, but that's cool.
I haven't seen it either, but Phil was just filling us in on that. But yeah, no, like that'll just every now and then a videos just be all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is getting a surge of views again. They're like, why don't you do any more videos like this? Like, because I don't want to. But anyway, so with that, we actually do have a lot of stuff we can talk about here today. We
Quite a
have
fair bit of stuff to talk about. You're right.
a couple of trailers, a couple episodes of a new Star Wars show. We'll get to that a little bit, but I think just kind of get us warmed up a little bit. There was a new trailer for
Excuse me.
what was that?
What the
That was
fuck
called a
was that?
sneeze.
That was a-
I don't know if you've reached that
Holy
point
shit.
in your maturity that you know what a sneeze is yet.
It
That was a
so
sneeze from
weird
hell.
sound.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just took me by surprise. But we had a new trailer for a new Alien movie, Alien
Yes.
Romulus,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
interesting. I kind of want to know what you guys thought about it because I mean, obviously, the last thing we saw Alien-wise was Alien Covenant, and that was mixed at best.
I actually like Covenant and I like Prometheus too. They're really weird and they have some kind of they have some pacing issues, but I think overall, like I like the concept of what he was going for. But with
Yeah.
Alien Romulus, I mean, they kind of gave away the story for the most part in the trailer. You know, they talk about how it's their only chance to get out of here. So somehow they hitch a ride. You know, they get on one of these refineries. Same thing from you know, the first one, Alien. And then it's been taken over by all these aliens, which is crazy. That's what it seems like to me, at least. But I think you know it looked cool. It really kind of captures that the alien vibe from the first movie. But it looks like there's gonna be multiple aliens. Like you know, there's gonna be a bunch of them on there, which is kind of cool. But they're not Marines; they're just people. So I think you know that was the one thing that you got with aliens was that like you know you had colonial Marines fighting them. You had machine guns and you know, all kinds of crap.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna watch it. Definitely gonna check it out. But I was reading Phil's comment. Sorry.
No, that's not even a joke. That's actually
no. I know. I was thinking of the what's his
I know
name?
what you were
The
thinking.
Danny
of.
Trejo machete.
Right. Like it's hard not to make the connection, but yeah, there is in fact a machete villain in Marvel canon.
That's crazy.
It's
and
insane.
yet that guy is not, Danny Trejo has not been cast as him. That's
Honestly, like no one really knows who Giancarlo Esposito is playing in Captain America: Brave New World. I based on like the look of the character that they showed in the set photos for the reshoots, I think he could be Machete. I'm not 100% sure on that. There are a lot of other
Yeah, I don't know
characters
who
that are
he
being
is.
thrown around, but fuck if I know. I think
it's
honestly,
that and what is it? Dr. Cornelius.
whatever the fuck, yeah.
Whatever the fuck, yeah. So
I've
I
seen
think
Bushman. I've seen fucking couple different names thrown around. I'm just like, we'll find out in February.
I was gonna correct him, but he was on
Carla
a roll. I just let him go.
I said Esposito, dickhead.
Esposito.
Esposito.
Esposito is his... Anyway,
Esposito. Whatever.
whatever.
No,
Tu hablas
same thing.
español?
So going back to Alien Romulus,
Yeah.
Here's my problem with Alien Romulus is that like
How you
ever
haven't even seen the
since-
movie? How
Well,
do you
I
have a problem
know.
that you haven't seen the movie?
Here's my
let
problem
me
with the
explain.
movie.
Here's where I'm stuck. Is
Okay.
that though it looks cool,
Mhm.
I think that what irks me the most is that we never got like the Neil Blomkamp Alien sequel, and let alone Alien 3 was such a. It was I don't know like they killed off Hicks, they killed off Newt. It was kind of like what's going on here? And I felt like we never really got like a real sequel to Aliens. You have Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien. Oh, is that it? Is there another one? But
Okay,
like,
so
they're
there's
just kind of weird
3,
movies.
Resurrection, AVP 1 and 2, and then they get into Prometheus and Covenant.
We don't
Yeah.
count AVP 1 and 2.
No, we
Yeah,
don't.
those are
Not really,
multiverse. That's a multiverse.
Yeah, I suppose.
And AVP is kind of like that's just like, hey, let's just watch a bunch of aliens and predators fight each other and a lot of action. Cool.
Ice pyramids.
Ice pyramids. There we go. The Aztecs built their pyramids just so they can fight each other. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where all the
sense.
Aztecs went when that battle happened, I have no idea. I mean, maybe that's to wipe them out. I don't know.
knows?
But I think it's gonna be cool. But again, it's kind of like I don't know where it's going. I don't know where this franchise is going. I see a cool trailer. I'm definitely gonna check it out. But like, my question is, where's it for? Does this connect to another one, a sequel, a trilogy, the universe, or
So-
is it just gonna kind of be like, yo, check this out. This is a cool story.
It's my understanding that the movie takes place in between Alien and Aliens. Like it's set in that 50-year time gap somewhere in between.
Oh.
And
That's good.
based on the trailer, it looks like I don't know if the Romulus. It said if you pay close enough attention, like it says Romulus Labs, and it looks like this is a shuttle in space. So I'm wondering, did Weyland-Yutani offer up a ship called the Romulus that's experimenting on the eggs and the fucking facehuggers and all that shit? And that's how these things get loose because a couple people come aboard and go, "Oh, gee, what are these?" And then boom, all hell breaks loose on this ship, and we're met with a mix of Alien and Aliens.
So
Yeah.
RJ writes, Alien Romulus is set between Alien and Aliens, just like Phil said. It's basically a bridge between, but it's still a standalone movie. Might just be references in the background. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like based on the trailer, it seemed like they were on whatever planet they were on. It was a shit planet. They wanted to get off that planet. They took that ship up there, probably illegally. They get onto the Romulus, I would imagine that's what it's called,
Probably.
and only to find out that it's been completely overtaken by the xenomorph.
Right.
Because you see all these the holes from the acid and all this stuff. So it's like, I think they're gonna. It's funny because I forgot what channel it was, but they did a breakdown of all of the Neil Blomkamp concept art for his Aliens sequel.
Yeah.
And like that was really cool. I was like, dude, all of this looks so much better than anything I've seen so far.
Yeah.
After Aliens.
That would have been a dope movie. Too bad Ridley Scott was like, I want to do a prequel. And that's how we ended up with Prometheus.
Well,
Well, I mean, speaking of that, like with this, does it mean we're never going to see anything more with David again? Is like the whole story just going to be kind of left where it was?
It's been
like,
scrapped as far as I
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
he
think
had
so.
a third one, and they're not going to make it because part 2 didn't. It pretty much bombed.
It did not perform well, no. Yeah.
No, but I mean, Prometheus had already came out, and then that's when Neil Blomkamp, because he did a movie with
Oh, you're right. This was
Chappie.
after Prometheus. Yeah. You're right.
I think
you're
he
right.
did Chappie, and I had Sigourney Weaver, and that's when he talked to her about it, and she's like, "Yeah, let's fucking do it." They even brought in Michael Biehn
Yeah.
to do
Hicks again. Yeah.
Yeah, but they brought him in to do a costume test, and he looked hella old. But I was like, that's the one thing I was like, I don't know how they were going to get past those two not looking extremely old. I'm sure they would have came up with something. It's the kind of reason why they look a
De-aging
lot older.
technology, probably.
Who knows? But that would have been a cool movie. I would have liked to have seen what they were going to do with that. But
I
again,
remember and I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, dude. I don't
No,
mean
you're
to,
fine.
but it's like making me think back to like those days, like when it was announced that Neil Blomkamp was doing that Alien movie. He was doing also Oats Studios way back in the day, and if you watch any of their stuff on Oats Studios, you could look at all that and be like, yeah, this guy could do Alien, like no fucking problem. And then the movie did not happen, and it was just like, well, that's a fucking crying shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because and like RJ was saying, it was supposed to ignore Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, which would have been cool. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of like, okay, you're ignoring those stories, but then again, those weren't like the greatest movies, so I guess hey, why not?
You know, I like Alien 3 despite the fact that it kills off. I'm more disappointed it killed Newt over Hicks. I could really not to say I don't like Michael Biehn or anything, but like killing Newt I think was a mistake. But that movie I don't really mind too much because everyone knows I'm not really a big fan of Aliens, but I do think that Alien 3 tried to do something a little different while still being consistent with the formula presented by the first two films, even though it kind of brought it back to like, you know, one central alien killing a whole fucking area full of people, and you know they tried to do something different with the alien by splicing it with an animal this time as opposed to a fucking human being. So I think there were some cool ideas with Alien, and there's a lot that's just it. Alien 3 and on, there are a lot of cool ideas in every preceding movie, minus AVP, because that's a pretty easy idea. Aliens versus Predator. I'm sure everyone in the suits were probably like, oh yeah, this should sell itself. Aliens versus Predator, right? But then you get to something like Prometheus and Covenant, and it's like, oh, okay, we're going to try and like toy with the idea of who really made the aliens, who is the father of the aliens, who is the alien god, right? But then it turns out that, you know, the space jockey turned out to be an SFA answer, and we really didn't get any much more of that. That's the thing that actually kind of bothered me, was Prometheus laid the foundation for these engineers to have, you know, some significance. Yeah. And then you get to Alien Covenant, and it's like, oh no, David just wiped them all out. I was like,
yeah, so they literally meant nothing to the story.
Right. It's like, what? You're gonna and then the ending of the movie just really, really chaps my ass, because then you've got like David putting the embryos of the aliens in there, and I'm just like, so we're just gonna completely bypass the idea of a fucking alien queen now. Got it.
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Well, and then he had that entire ship full of colonists, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna just experiment on all these guys. I mean, they said, like, Ridley had said that basically the next film would have been a war between humans, engineers, and aliens. I think more or less they would all kind of come together and start fighting each other. So I think that could have been cool because he would have created like essentially an entire army of xenomorphs.
Yeah.
But and then I don't know, like then the girl, you know, she was captured, and then what's his name? Eastbound and Down. He was in one of those cryo chambers. You know, I was kind of, and that was the other thing too. What was Danny McBride doing in that movie? I was like, I love Danny McBride, but man, this seems like an awfully strange casting to put.
It was
this
so
movie.
Weird seeing him in there.
I was like, I'm supposed to take you seriously.
The entire time I just kept on picturing his character from Hot Rod, and also from Land of Lost.
I just kept picturing. Fuck, what was it? Pineapple Express.
Oh,
and what else is Danny McBride?
This is the end.
Yeah, this is the end. And to take it a step further, this guy also wrote fucking Halloween with David Gordon Green.
That's weird.
It's so jarring for him because there are very direct scenes in that movie where I'm like, okay, Danny McBride wrote that line. Like when the kids talk about, oh, I know you and your friends be smoking weed. I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking Danny McBride line for sure. 100%. Yep. And it's just to bring it back to Alien Covenant, like he was the fucking pilot. He's got a hat on and everything. He's supposed to be some fucking Texan. I was like, what is he even doing in this movie?
He was one who lived at the end, you know, with the it was just like, why is Danny McBride here? Like all I could picture was him, you know, that scene where he wakes up in the tub and he's like, fuck yeah.
Tell me the marketing fucking totally lied to you and totally made it seem like he was gonna die.
It seemed like everyone was going to die in that movie, but him, yes, it seemed like he was going to die for sure.
I think the most like jarring scene, well, not really jarring, but like the most emotion I ever saw of him was when his wife in the movie fucking died, and he's just like just kind of struggling to fly the ship. I was like, oh, okay, maybe Danny McBride can act.
Yeah.
Then that was it. And then it was like, I don't even know. I didn't know why he was there. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why. That's like in the Eternals, like Salma Hayek. I was like, what's Salma Hayek doing here? Like,
dude,
I was like, did you just walk onto the wrong set? Like,
she took a paycheck. She happily took a paycheck for that.
Even Angelina Jolie, I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, you should have been part of the MCU like
she
15
had the
years ago.
Part, though. She had the easiest part. She's like, oh, you mean I just get to kick some ass and then act like I forget everything? Fucking right on.
Yeah. I just to think of movies that had weird castings. I mean, obviously, you know, we talked about like Madam Web having Adam Scott in that movie, I was just like, okay, they lied to this guy.
And he was the best part of that movie too, as,
Yeah,
as it
he
stands.
was. Ryan, can you think of a movie?
Or like fucking Harry Styles at the end of Eternals, and he's like,
Oh my gosh.
we're
oh
supposed to buy,
yeah,
we're supposed to buy that this jackass is the brother of Thanos.
and then we
Okay.
haven't seen him since. Like what?
Right.
What?
Right.
Ryan, can you think of a
Harry
movie?
Styles not lethal.
Can you think of a movie, Ryan, that had a weird casting? And same with you, Sean. Where you saw the movie and you're like, what are they doing here? I don't understand why they're here. Like, why are you in this movie?
Well, I think we just touched on one that really stands out to me, right? Because Eastbound was when I that's what I envision when I see that actor. So,
Danny McBride,
yeah.
That was
That's
like,
the one that
what?
yeah. So he's a very killable character, and he doesn't die.
And he, like, if anything, he should have died first.
Yeah,
He should have died before James Franco died.
It's
And all of a
like
sudden, James Franco was like, "Oh, he's dead."
it's like he should have died before the title of the movie came on the screen.
I
You
felt
mean
like
you mean like James Franco in Alien Covenant?
Yeah,
that was like
I got
I don't even know why.
I got another weird
I don't even know
casting.
why he was in that movie. I feel like James Franco and Danny McBride were at a bar or at some kind of club, and they ran into Ridley Scott, and they started talking to him, having drinks with him. And he said, "Hey, how about I add you guys in my movie?" Yeah. And then there was,
and then they got this, and then they got the scripts mixed up, and they got the other person's part.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh man.
The
No,
entire
another
movie.
weird casting is like, what is he doing here? For me, was Christopher Walken in Dune Part 2.
Okay. No.
I love him as an actor, but it's like
No.
for me, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I
he stands out to
gonna
me
disagree
so
with you
bad.
there.
Yeah,
gonna
it-
disagree
I'm
with
gonna
you on
stand
that
back
one.
from this one. I'm gonna
It
stand
was.
back.
I love him as
like
an actor. And he did a fine job, but like I look at him, it's like I don't know, it's jarring for me. It's like all these characters, like okay, I see them as the characters, and there's just Christopher Walken.
Well,
Okay,
and when he
would you-
shows up, I was like, "That's the guy you chose." I know he's a huge fan of Dune, but I
Well-
was like, "Christopher Walken? Are you kidding me?"
The entire
Like,
time he was in the movie, I was just expecting like someone to ask him to do something, and him be like, "No, like what? I don't want to.
Who
I
did
don't
you
want to
want?
go to Arrakis."
Who would you rather have had? Ian fucking McDermott?
I'm not saying I would rather have any.
there was a lot of other
person, but, like,
castings that
it's
probably
just
could have worked for
Weird
that
for me
role.
to see him.
I think
in
Danny
that
McBride
role.
was available.
Oh my god.
And they just have me like, look, the only thing I need is more cowbell. I need more cowbell on this Dune
Christopher
planet.
Walken is badass, but seeing Christopher
is.
Walken in
I
Dune
agree.
is like seeing Nicolas Cage as Superman. It was just kind of like, oh, yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's the thing.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're like,
I
oh.
bought it.
Well, okay,
I liked
seeing
it. I enjoyed it.
Chris Lloyd in fucking Mandalorian.
Oh,
That
how
was
did I
like,
know that was coming?
Oh
How the fuck did I know that
yeah,
was coming? How did I know?
that's another one. It was like, what
Chris
the
Lloyd, Jack
hell?
Black,
That
and those
same
others.
same with Jack Black. He was just kind of there. I was like, yeah. I mean, but I mean, it's a series, not a movie. But it's just
It's
it
a
was like,
series.
what are you doing here? I was
Well,
like, okay.
that's just a paycheck grabber. Like, hey, let's just throw these guys in there. They wanted to be in there. Let's just do it.
Sure.
We got a
it paid
phone
off
call
to
from
some-
Lizzo saying she wanted to hold Grogu. So we
Yeah,
gotta do that.
Lizzo. Oh my god, it paid off to some degree because I mean, there were fans that were like, "Oh, cool," you know. But I wasn't. I don't think any of us were. We were like, "What the hell is going on?"
I didn't
That
mind
was.
it.
I thought that was a very messy episode, and
was.
Yes.
Christopher
It was a
Lloyd,
very-
I
it
was
was a
like-
filler episode that was just like
It was
wasn't
wannabe
needed.
CSI in Star Wars, where they had a freaking droid in an
Yeah.
infirmary. It's like let's see the evidence here. What it was on the body. It's like
They fucking solved nothing. It was a cartoon caper. It was stupid. It was stupid. It wasn't. It was not needed in that in that
Not
season.
at
That
all.
season was not. That season needed to be rethought.
There
It had
were some
cool
good
things
things
to it.
about
Yeah,
it.
it
Yeah.
had some cool
Oh,
stuff
absolutely.
to it, like Mandalore and all that. Except for that one
yeah.
part where they fly now. Like, wait, what? Like all the fucking troopers had jetpacks, but they're not supposed to have jetpacks until Rise of Skywalker. Stepping on your own lore.
The
Kinda
best,
dumb.
the worst part of
Kinda
Mandalorian
dumb.
season 3 was when they're on Mandalore, they're riding on like this sailboat over sand.
And they see the big fucking monster.
Yeah, they see the big monster. They're like, "There's something over there," Ah! And then they're like, "Oh no!" And they're still going straight towards it. I'm like, dude, if you would have sensed that, you'd have been like, "Hey, there's something over there. Turn, go the other way."
Should I throw the anchor?
Yeah, it was like, why are you still going towards it? What are you doing?
e-brake.
I just cast my line.
Use your
We're
jetpacks and get out of there at the very least.
fishing.
And those jetpacks
Again-
are always like, "Oh, I'm out of fuel."
Again, there was good things about it, but there were some scenes like again.
No, I like Mandalorian. Man, it was badass, but there was just
It's the best show they have.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the best show they have.
Longevity wise,
Yes.
that's the best show they have.
sure, yeah.
I thought Ahsoka was better. I liked Ahsoka a lot. I thought that was a really
Quality
good show.
wise, Andor. I'd put Andor. Over
Oh yeah,
Andor,
Andor.
Andor. Honestly, I feel like you should watch it again, Phil.
It's a good show.
Yeah, how about no? I don't need to watch that show first.
All right.
And he's
I'm-
like, no,
I'm good.
thank you. I'll
I'm
take
good.
Jack Black any day.
No,
That's not what I said either.
With
no words in his
Lizzo.
mouth.
With Lizzo.
No put words in his mouth.
At the end of
No.
that episode with Christopher Lloyd, remember he's like, I have this button I'm gonna press, and all the robots are gonna.
I was like, oh,
Skynet's
God.
gonna take over. I was like, a button. That's all. It
Who
comes
wrote
down
that
to?
episode? Fucking a preschooler? I mean,
Yeah, they're like, he's gonna have this button and the button.
and there was a
okay.
button.
You know
and,
what? No,
Red.
what they did was they
But
wrote
oh
that
my god, Andor's the best fucking thing in Disney Star Wars. Oh,
It's really good. Michael Wilkinson's costume designs in that were outstanding.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
But the
very good.
I felt like after they wrote that episode with the Lizzo, that's when the writers were like, hey, you know what? We deserve more money. Let's go on.
Oh man.
It's crazy
If
how
David
we can,
Zaslav,
how we
like,
can make it's crazy how we can make the jump in connection between Alien and now Mandalorian. What a shift!
That's all-
What a shift in conversation!
Well,
It's
okay,
all space
well,
travel.
well, let's find out. Okay, Sean, are you excited for Alien Romulus?
I am, yeah.
Okay,
Because for me, okay,
very well.
very well. Okay. So moving along.
There it is. There it is.
So when I saw the trailer, it had some aspects that remind me of both the first and second film.
Mhm.
It had like almost that suspense, not jump scare, but that suspense thriller aspect. while
Yeah.
at the same
Oh,
time
absolutely.
The
Trying
intensity.
to, yeah, the intensity. Then at the same time, the survival aspect that you captured in the second one with the Marines and everything.
Oh yeah, dude. Great
Alien,
movie. Great
Alien,
flick.
Alien 3. I feel Alien 3 gets about the same amount of hate, or maybe a little bit less than like Godfather 3. I enjoyed both of those. I enjoy Alien 3. I
I
enjoy
want to see
Godfather 3.
there was a different cut of Godfather 3 I want to see.
It's out there.
Yeah,
It's out
um,
there.
It's the Coda cut or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Ford
Something,
Coppola
yeah.
just did it.
So,
Yeah.
so I will recommend if you've seen the original cut of Godfather 3 plenty of
Mhm.
times, you're gonna go into part 3. I think a little the Coppola cut a little dissatisfied because all he really does is just rearranges a lot of the scenes, and you
Right.
think to yourself, this doesn't even make sense now how he rearranged it. Now I know that was
Oh, okay.
the way it's set up is how he originally intended the film.
Right.
But I look at it as, well, wait a minute, your original intention doesn't make sense. So I'm glad that this wasn't the first release. But so the question I had was, I didn't see anything on this for the new Alien Romulus movie. So part 2 happened on LV 426. That was
Correct.
the planet they landed on.
Correct.
Now within that system, there's 3 moons, LV 426 being one of them. Now so when we saw in this trailer, we saw a little bit of the outside. It looked very similar to what we would have seen or saw in LV 426. So I'm wondering if this is taking place on one of those other 2 moons or planets that's in that system.
That's no moon.
Well,
So-
Prometheus was LV 422. I
I
think
don't remember.
421. It was
Maybe.
one of the other moons, definitely, but it
Okay.
wasn't 426. Let me double
Okay.
check that.
Because and then on Prometheus, for me, that one I went and saw that in theaters. I absolutely hated it. I was
Really?
like,
Okay.
So this was the worst movie ever. And then after some time passed, I went back and watched it again and again,
Okay.
and now it's one of my favorite movies.
It was
Mm.
LV 223.
Okay,
It's one of those movies that like it takes a while to like kind of not necessarily understand, but just kind of like get into the vibe of it.
yeah.
I loved the whole story with Fassbender's character. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And like he
Yeah.
was the main reason why I like both films.
Well,
Is that
and
I
the main
loved his
reason that,
story
like,
arc.
It's tough to digest because it's not a typical Alien film. Like it's very much a different vibe to an extent.
Oh
of course,
yeah.
to later
Yeah.
on. in
Yeah,
the film.
absolutely. Yeah, and again, it was probably like the third
Yeah.
or fourth watch. I really started to appreciate what the story was trying to accomplish. Right.
Yeah.
To your point,
Yeah.
Dawson, it wasn't your typical what we saw from parts 1 through 3. I'm not counting part 4. I don't like
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection. To me, that's a non-existent.
Because like if you go to the theater at Prometheus and think, oh, it's an Alien prequel, and you expect an Alien movie, then you're going to be very disappointed. I feel like that's
and that's what I did when
Yeah.
I first saw it. And then it came out in 2012. It's been a minute since
Right.
I
2012.
This
Yeah.
was weird. I didn't
Guy
understand
Pearce, yeah.
why
Yeah.
they put Guy Pearce and dressed him like an old man. I mean, I get what they were doing because he made those videos where he was Wayland Yutani or he was Peter Wayland. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was kind of like, okay, well, when you got to the old man, why not just cast an old man? You know what I mean? Like, it was clearly Guy Pearce dressed as an old man. I was like, oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's fair.
Hollywood had a hard time making actors look older and make it believable for quite a while.
He looked
It's
like
hit miss. It's really
yeah.
hit miss depending on what director's doing it. Like
he looked like what's his name, Johnny Knoxville, when he does the old man gag. He looked
In
like that.
Jackass.
I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
kinda.
so you're
Now,
not really
I'm
old.
never
You're
gonna
just pretending.
Now that I've heard that, I'm never gonna unsee that. Now every time I watch a movie.
That's what I thought of when I saw it. I was like, oh, this is kind of like Jackass. But like I said, I like the whole storyline with Prometheus and Covenant. It was definitely a different take and a different twist on it. And I really did want to see where it was going to end up.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever will.
And for AVP, those two, for me, I feel that those were just really cash grabs to say, hey, we finally put these two main science fiction characters on the screen in the same movie together, and now we're done. We're not going to do this again. Whatever happens.
Well, and also like they had the Alien versus Predator comics that were published by Dark Horse, so like they're like, oh, well, this is something we've done in comics. Let's actually like follow through and do a movie of it.
Yeah, and they did it in like the most cheapest fashion possible. They didn't
Right.
go all out with it, which is kind of unfortunate. But you know, that's neither here nor there now. Disney can do whatever they want. I mean, they've got a. They actually just announced Elle Fanning is going to be in the Badlands follow-up to Prey, the next Predator film, so that'll be interesting. And then there's this Alien Romulus movie, and then whatever TV show Noah Hawley's working on for Hulu. So
yeah,
I don't know,
because AVP, that one's almost 20 years old now. I mean,
give or take, I think so.
Something around
Something
there,
like that.
I still remember the commercials for it where it's like, oh, we found an ancient pyramid. It's under 300 feet of ice. Got to drill into it. And it's like, oh, what's going on here?
20 years. You're right, Sean. 2004.
Oh, is it? Yeah, 2004. Yeah, so there you go.
Dang.
100%. It'll be August. August will be his 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it's been a while since that.
And it was the who were the brothers that directed it? It was two guys, I want to say.
I don't know if it was
just.
I thought it was.
I think it was one guy. I think it was his last name was Anderson. Something Anderson. I don't remember his
No.
name.
So it looks you're right. No, Sean's right. It's Paul W.S. Anderson. Who
Thank
did
you.
AVP.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his first name. I remember
it was
his
two
last
guys,
name.
or maybe not. I just thought the whole. I mean, the concept itself. I mean, look, if you're a studio, you're like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? That's going to be a cash grab.
Yeah.
And they're not terrible movies. I mean, they're fun. They're action packed. But I mean,
but they barely even make it to a popcorn flick, right? That you would just sit there and just be like, I'm just going to waste an hour and
Well, and also you take two R-rated monster movie series and then make a PG-13 mashup movie where it's like can't really go all out. It's like, really? Come on.
Yeah, it had about the same potential as Let There Be Carnage did.
Yep.
yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of Carnage,
You're
that
welcome.
takes us to another trailer that we had come out this week. Venom 3, The Last Dance, dumbest name ever, but we'll put that aside. Had a trailer for that, and a lot of conversation has come up about that in the Marvel fandom community. And I'm just going to say this right now. Like, aside from the cool shot of like the Venom horse or symbiote horse, this trailer really didn't do anything for me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't mind the two Venom movies. I like the first one better. The second one was like, okay. What's up, Dwayne? How's it going, man?
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
The part of the trailer that really didn't make it to where I was just like, my brain's just done. I'm not really going to care about this. Was when it's like, we are Venom, and it's like, okay,
I know.
Yeah, like we got to work on the timing.
We
Like,
are
you guys
farmers.
Did this.
Doom, 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 doom.
You guys literally did this at the end of the first movie. Why are you having trouble with the timing now? It was a really weird joke that lasted too long in the trailer.
It lasted
Hopefully
too long.
Yeah, hopefully it's not in the movie, or maybe it's cut shorter in the movie, or maybe it makes more sense in context. But like that joke and just a couple other things, I'm just like, also him dancing with Mrs. Chen, and it's just like, what is going on? They're clearly just like,
Mrs. Chen, and they're in like
Yeah.
Vegas or wherever. I was kind of like, huh?
I mean,
You know,
I hope it proves me wrong. But yeah, that trailer did nothing for me. If I'm
it's
being quite
just
honest.
there's a lot of cringy stuff, especially like in Let There Be Carnage. There were a lot of cringy scenes where you're like, I was questioning Andy Serkis, like, really, dude? Like you. Okay, that's an interesting. It's a weird scene, but okay, whatever. And the dialogue could be kind of campy or a little corny. It was kind of like, what are we doing here? But the first one
Maybe
was
it's also
good.
just because the bitterness of Madam Web. That's probably also what it is.
No, I don't know what it is, but I do feel like there's going to be a bunch of scenes in this that we're all going to be kind of head scratchers where you're just like, what?
Sure.
Whatever. But and then what was crazy was that they put in the scene where you see that soldier, that general, whatever, capturing the symbiote that you saw at the end of No Way Home. And I was like, what? Why would you show that? And on top of that,
and also that soldier is played by the guy
there?
who was the villain of Doctor Strange 1, or one of the villains of Doctor Strange 1.
Yeah, it's Baron Mordo. It's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. So like,
Yep.
play the same guy.
Somehow he traveled the multiverse to capture that. I don't know. And then the bartender looked. I guess the bartender looked a little different to me because he had his hair was like fully out, long hair, and he looked like kind of weird. It was just kind of weird. I was just like, I don't understand. Why would you cap off that storyline? Like
I would not be shocked if
they just kind of buttoned it up. Like,
I wouldn't be shocked if they just completely ignore the fact that Venom like switched universes for a hot second and just kind of make it to where like, oh, it was actually always in his universe. Like, I would not be shocked if they went that route. Because, I mean, let's be clear, they've tried to do something with Spider-Man and like this universe and everything. And to me, it's clear that like they were trying to work something out between Sony and Marvel and like crossing things over. But like with the failures of a lot of Sony's products outside of Spider-Verse, it's like, to me, I have no evidence of this, but to me, it makes perfect sense that things just kind of broke down and they're just going to kind of ignore it and bypass it. But real quick, we got a $5 super chat here from Connor Dorian. What's up, man? Let's give you a quick little explosion real fast. And Connor does make a good point here. He said, just thought you should know that it's not the same bar. Like, you look at the background of the bar where he's at in No Way Home and in this trailer, it's not the same. It's a different layout.
It's just a weird Sony thing where right off the bat you're like, okay, Sony's gonna fuck this up somehow. I don't know how, but they're going to. It's just like you hit gold when at the end of Let There Be Carnage, when he sits forward and you see Tom Holland on the TV. That was a huge scene. I was like, dude, badass, yes. And then it didn't pay off.
Yeah,
because they never actually saw each other.
I don't know. I'm probably one of the few people. I'm probably the only person on this panel. I don't know how Sean feels, and it feels like Ryan, Andre, and Dawson are kind of on the same page with it. I'm not looking too deep into it, honestly. I was kind of. I actually was quite surprised by the trailer in a lot of spots. I mean, I won't disagree about the name. I think the name of the movie is actually kind of goofy. I don't really like The Last Dance. I mean, Lethal Protector was right there. The first movie is heavily based on the Lethal Protector storyline. The second movie is clearly Carnage inspired. But the third one, it's like, okay, The Last Dance, I get it. You guys want to kind of emphasize the fact this is Tom Hardy's last dance with the role. Oh fucking okay, whatever. But seriously, Lethal Protector was right there. And that would have been a perfect, like, culmination of who this character was as it is presented to be. But we are Venom, like that bit. I get it. It's a little goofy, but I think that's intentional. The scene that made me kind of cackle was the whole you don't want to do this, sweetheart, whatever. Like Tom Hardy's delivery in a lot of this stuff actually makes me crack up.
Well, Tom Hardy's great, yeah.
Right. And Mrs. Chen, seeing her in Vegas, I was like, oh, that's a nice surprise. Seeing Venom dance with Mrs. Chen, I was like, okay, are they going to actually do that in Vegas? Because that would be a little jarring, but that's kind of on par for this franchise, because in the last one, they did have Venom dancing at a rave.
Yeah, true. I forgot that happened.
Yeah, it's true. They did.
They did. They had him dance at a rave.
I only watched that movie once. I forgot all
doesn't
about
surprise me. That does not surprise me at all.
No, I usually watch movies multiple times just to make a.
I own that movie.
No, I just
own that movie.
I kind of understand your sensibilities, and it doesn't shock me that you'd only watch that one once.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
I mean, for me, I don't know. I thought the horse thing was actually really fucking cool. I thought I laughed at it.
That was cool.
It was cool.
It was the best part of the trailer by far.
I haven't seen the trailer.
I think the dude that smashes against the window was in 2, and I think he's supposed to be Toxin. So we're probably going to get Toxin in this movie as well. Considering they showed a bunch of other symbiotes, I think, I'm not going to say it outright, but I do think that the movie is basically going to be Venom versus a ton of symbiotes instead of just, Venom versus Riot for the first movie, Venom versus Carnage for the second movie. I think the third film is going to be Venom versus multiple symbiotes.
And they're all going to look weird, like, different
I mean, they could do like Phage and Scream and a couple other ones we haven't seen before. And I mentioned Toxin. He's probably going to get backup from Toxin because Toxin's typically not like one of the, more cynical, evil symbiotes. He's actually kind of an anti-hero. Yeah. So Yeah, they did show Scream, like the Scream symbiote, like the yellow and red one. So it wouldn't at all shock me if that were to be the case. And even like the big fucking monster thing that attacks the plane, I was like, I've read like a handful of Venom stuff, ranging from like Agent Venom to like modern stuff with Ryan Stegman and Don Cates. Like I've read a bit of it. I'm not that deep into it, so I don't really know if that's like from the comics or not, but I think it is because I did see in passing like a side by side of like, this is from a comic panel, this is in the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess it must be canon, to use that word. So we'll see.
And this brings up a question that I was going to have, which I'm willing to bet the answer is no. But
I'm right there with you. Answer's no.
Yeah, no, know that Noel's going to show up. I would be genuinely shocked if they go that direction.
If Marvel Studios wouldn't even allude to the fact that Noel was the one behind the Necroblade and Thor: Love and Thunder, I highly doubt Sony would even bother touching that for this movie.
Yeah.
Right. No, absolutely. Plus, also, like, again, there's just some characters I think that Sony is just not willing to touch. I mean, hell, they're not even allowed to say, like, Peter Parker's, like, Spider-Man phrase of responsibility correctly. They're not even allowed to do that. So it's like, what?
You know, it's responsible to have powers.
With great responsibility, great power will come. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
But yeah, Sean and Ryan. I mean, Ryan, you said you didn't see the trailer, did you?
I have not seen the trailer. No.
Okay, did you see it, Sean?
I saw it, and so I'll echo a lot of what Phil said. So I mean, I didn't hate it.
Right.
I'm not overly
I
oh
didn't
my
hate
God,
it.
I gotta go see this film like tomorrow. But I mean, I think we're all in agreement on the name, right? To Phil's point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had I think the perfect name available right there that they could have used, and they chose to use The Last Dance.
Like Maximum Carnage for part 2. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Why didn't they name it Maximum Carnage? That was the weirdest thing. I was like, you just like Lethal Enforcer, you were like, it's right there. Why would you not? Why wouldn't you do that? You know, like,
right.
I don't know.
And, you know, Droga and a couple other people brought up that Rhys Ifans is in this movie too. And no, I don't think he's playing a variant of Kurt Connors because he has both his hands. He's playing a different character. Just like Chiwetel Ejiofor is probably not playing a variant of Baron Mordo.
I think it's a case where they're trying to show you like it's a multiverse, and so you're going to get different variations of, you know, like in this world, this is what he does. You know what I mean? In this world, he's this guy instead, or whatever.
I feel like if they were to do that, they would have to get like approval from Marvel Studios. Well, less so with Rhys Ifans, more so with Chiwetel Ejiofor. I feel like they would have to absolutely get like approval from Marvel Studios to be like, yeah, this may or may not be a Baron Mordo-ish variant or whatever, or relative thereof to that character, like Mike's Magic. For fuck's sake.
Seriously, the fact that exists, and they're like, yeah, let's do something similar to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're saying, Sean?
The name was supposed to be funny. I think when they said The Last Dance, I think it's supposed to also be kind of funny. It was kind of cheeky, I think.
Kind of cheeky.
Lemon squeezy.
Yeah, so again, I'm with Phil on the name. But I think we are in a variance of opinion on the name. Probably wasn't the best choice. I think what stood out mostly was, I think what everyone talks about is the Venom horrors thing, which I thought was pretty cool to see. So I'm not hating on that. I don't mind the comic aspect to it because we saw that in the first two. So I was obviously expecting it for this one. I do think the whole We Are Venom thing, I hope, to your point, Dawson, I hope that is cut down maybe by a couple where we don't see it a little bit. But I did like that little action sequence as far as the camera angles and views. So I thought that one looked pretty good. But I also like the comedic part where you have Tom Hardy walking around in a Hawaiian shirt, shorts, and cowboy boots. And you know he's Venom, right? So I think I did like just that kind of aspect to the character. I mean, will I see it? Absolutely, I'll see it. I saw the first two just because I would like to know how they're going to end out this iteration of Venom. Now, I'll say, I think once they're done with this, they need to take Venom, put him on the shelf, and walk away for a bit, and come back to the character at a later point. I don't think I want to see this character come back in 2 or 3 years when we start seeing a soft reboot of the MCU, and say, hey, Sony, let's try to work together and bring Venom into the fold, right? I don't want to see that.
Right. Yeah, give him a little bit of a break, especially considering the fact that he's been featured in the latest Spider-Man game. He was featured in, of course, Spider-Man trilogy. He was featured in Spider-Man 3. Like, there's a lot of different things that he's been featured in lately to where it's kind of oversaturated in the entertainment side of things.
And the other thing that stood out to me was we've talked about here was the bar scene, right? And I think if I remember correctly in the trailer, right before they showed that scene, they were in a lab and they had like all these different like symbiotes, like the material already captured in like these various vats, right? So I'm hoping we get some explanation of what that's about versus it's just a scene. Hey, yeah, we got some of this stuff, and let's just move on, right?
But again, you're relying on Sony to make sense of it.
Hear,
and that's where
that's where I'm like, I'm hoping we get
they're
information,
not.
but the larger percentage of me knows we're not, because to your point, it's Sony, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
we should have
Sony-
done this in Madam Web.
Yeah.
Ryan, your headphones, the little thing sticking up, reminds me of like Boba Fett.
I mean, we all know, leave it to Sony to somehow screw something up, and
He's no good to me,
probably
Dad.
will. So.
Oh, we got dual Dawsons.
Oh yeah,
He just noticed
we
that.
use the same
I just
handle.
noted. Oh, I've been looking at my screen.
Got double Dawsons.
Double Dawson. Double dose of Dawson.
Double dose of
Did
Dawsons.
you?
Say that
did
5
you,
times real fast.
Did you?
Double dose of Dawson.
Did you?
Real quick, got a question here from Dwayne Jackson. There's actually some interesting news that came out this week. It says, "What are you guys' thoughts of Zack Snyder come back to WB to produce a 300 prequel series?" Question: Did his Netflix deal expire?
Okay, his Netflix deal did not expire. His Netflix deal is a first look contract, so anything that's an original content has to go through them first.
And when does that end?
I don't know.
It's
not over anytime soon. Two, if you were just to say, okay, if you just tell somebody, hey, so we got a 300 prequel series with Zack Snyder directing and coming back to work on it, you would say, fuck yeah. But when someone says, coming back to WB to produce the 300, it's kind of like, look, all I know is this. Zack Snyder coming back to 300, fuck yeah. I want to see it. I want more of it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think, to me, it doesn't matter that it's a Warner Bros. Project. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, boycott, WB. It's like, no, I want to see Zack Snyder 300 content. That's what I want to see.
Also, you can't read too much into it and suggest like, oh, since he's doing this 300 series, then he's going to do his DC stuff again. You can't read too far.
God,
into
you can't.
that.
Absolutely not. No.
Because you got to deal with, you got James Gunn and Peter Safran running the show over there. Why would they be like, hey, now that you're back, why don't you go ahead and finish your original story, and we'll just make
If
ours
our
on the
stuff
side.
doesn't resonate with the audience, maybe yours will.
Yeah, no. So it's like I'm excited for the prospect of seeing that prequel series. I'd love to see.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I have both the 300 and Xerxes books in that universe from Frank Miller, and like I love that aesthetic. I love the over the top, like historical fiction elements to it, and what Zack Snyder did with his visuals. Like, hell yeah, I'd love to see it. I just think people gotta be careful to not read too far into it, just because again, it's like he's working again with WB, doors opening. It's like, well, hold on. Slow your roll.
I mean, anything is possible, but I mean,
theoretically, yes.
Theoretically, anything is possible. But well, let me finish. Anything is possible, but the fact that you have James Gunn and Peter Safran already working on a new DC universe, I highly doubt that they would say, you know what? Why don't you finish yours as well? No,
I would say this is like a one-off type of thing.
I'm with Andre. I'm going to echo pretty much everything Andre said. His first look deal with Netflix is not expired yet. Matter of fact, I think he probably re-upped it not too long ago.
I think he did.
And to your point, everything like original, i.e. like Army of the Dead, Rebel Moon, Twilight of Gods, all that's all through Netflix. But however, since this 300 is owned by WB, at least the distribution rights, they would have first say in regards to what they would want to do with the IP. Zach has talked about this in the past of wanting to do other things with that world and kind of expanding on it in a way that is not necessarily present in the comics that Frank Miller made. And also, it's very important to remember this is through Warner Brothers Television, not Warner Brothers Pictures.
Right.
So it's a completely different fucking regime handling. So, I mean, to an extent, yeah, it's probably still Pam, Abdi, and Mike DeLuca to some varying extent.
It's a different regime.
But let's be clear here. The contract is still being negotiated. We have no idea what his overall involvement is going to be.
Right.
When the news broke, I mean, it was first just kind of just general. Oh, Zach's returning to WB to do take part in a 300
to direct, produce along with
correct.
Deborah and everyone else.
Right. That was the original. Yeah, that was the original story. But then as the days went on, it came out that one, the contract is still being negotiated. Two, he may only be coming. He's not doing any writing. For this series, that was he would either be directing, as you just said, Phil, directing, producing along with Deborah. But the other thing that stood out was they haven't even aligned on how many episodes he'd even be involved in. He might just be coming in to do the pilot or 1 or 2 episodes, and then that's it. So his involvement might not even be as big as everyone is thinking it's going to be. I mean, when you look at it for face value, and you see Zack Snyder coming back to do a prequel 300 series, I think everyone assumed, oh, he's coming back, he's going to write, direct, produce, and he's going to do all the episodes. It's going to be full, and that's not the case. Nor do you even know that.
Not even that. Like, look at the past way he's just collaborated with other people on other stuff. Like, he brought in Shea Hatton and Joby Harold to do, Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead. So
correct.
To your point, he probably wouldn't even be writing the TV series. You'd have to imagine, like, if he's going to direct it and produce it, that doesn't necessarily mean he may or may not be the collective showrunner of the show.
Correct.
Like, they might bring someone else in, but since it's a co-production between WB and Stone Quarry, you'd have to imagine that whoever they do decide, it would be a collaborative effort to decide on somebody.
Absolutely. But I think again, many people saw this original headline and thought, oh, he's coming in full control over it, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
And as far as I think what Phil, you and Andre both mentioned, everyone needs to just, not on this panel, I'm not saying this panel, but everyone just needs to calm down a bit. This Peter and James are doing their thing. There's no way now at this point that the executives are going to say, yep, full stop, or yeah, Zach, come on in, do your Justice League 2 and 3, and while Peter and James do their thing. Now, I think we've also heard of, not very recent, but somewhat recent, that Zach said that if he were to do something else, he would want to do the Dark Knight Returns story.
Right.
So, in even wanting to do that, we know that's not going to happen while James and Peter are doing their thing. James and Peter's thing would have to absolutely fail, be full stop, a cool down period before I think they would even say, hey, Zach, will you now do Batman The Dark Knight Returns? Yeah, sure, I'll come do it.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think
still
they
have to
would
have
ever do that.
The Brave and the Bold. You got to give it.
What I'm saying,
I don't think he'd ever do.
That's what I'm saying. If Brave and Bold, let's just say Superman, Supergirl happened, and let's say we never even got to Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Right. Then I have, but to your point, Ryan, if Brave and Bold happened, that would have to happen, be out there for a minute, and then
you got
at some
the
point,
Pattinson thing as well. You're
Absolutely.
gonna totally saturate the market with
and that's
Batman, not live action Batman 3.
And that's my point. So
might as well bring back Michael Keaton again.
He's actually in talks already. Since he's done with Beetlejuice.
I knew it. No,
Beetlejuice.
But that's my
point.
I think everyone needs to look at this at a very S1 level. Zach's coming back. We don't know his involvement, but we know it's a prequel 300 series. He might be around for 1 or 2 episodes. He might, to fill your point, he might have kind of an overseeing role of how this plays out because of his involvement in the first one, and also him and Deborah were producers for Rise of Empire, Fall of Empire, whatever it was called.
Right.
Rise of
Empire.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think even if that was his overall role, like, hey, I'll do 1 or 2, the rest I'll kind of be me and Deborah be producers, kind of an overwatching here, make sure it kind of flows right. But besides that, I don't want to be involved.
Well, also, I've also seen some people say, "Oh, well, maybe he can finish his Justice League stuff as a TV show," and I'm like, "Fucking seriously, stop!" What? Because none of these number one, these actors
are done.
They're done. Henry Cavill no longer Superman. Ben Affleck has gone on record saying, "No more Batman. I'm done. Like, the Flash was it. I'm good. We're great. Gravy, whatever." It's pretty clear Ezra Miller's probably not coming back as the Flash. Jason Momoa likely not coming back as Aquaman. Like, all these actors are not the same age that they were when this story was intended to finish.
Yeah.
So these people really need to stop honing in on, oh, well, it could happen in live action on TV. No, the fuck it can't.
I mean, and think about it. Justice League was being done in 2016?
Yeah.
Late 2015, 2016, and then
2016. Yeah.
26. And then we got the release in 2017. We're already talking 7 years to like right now. And if that were to happen, I mean, how many more years before that could even happen? And then, to your point, these actors, no one's getting any younger. Their careers are moving on. They've moved on.
De-age them.
Yeah,
they
de-age
be in the
them.
nightmare future, but then you can't go back in time.
Yeah.
Without
So,
de-aging them.
and again, I'm one of those where I'm not one of these cultists where I'm like, everything Zach, so on and so forth. But people need to start accepting reality.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 is not going to happen live action, whether it's a movie, a TV series. It's not going to happen with the same cast. The best thing that's going to happen is either a comic or an animated series. And even in the animated series, you might be lucky enough to get the actors to come back in and do the voiceovers. You might be lucky enough.
Maybe. But speaking of actors coming back, we got another super chat here from Connor Dorian. Here's another explosion for you.
Thank you.
He's here. Bill Skarsgård is returning as Pennywise in a prequel TV series. Welcome to Derry. I did see that earlier.
As did I.
Yeah, my only concern with that is I don't want Bill start to fall into he gets typecasted as Pennywise, and then we find a situation, and then he finds where that's all you know him to be, and he can't really be anything else. I'm all for it. I'm interested. I'll watch it because I'm a fan of the genre, but I just don't want to see him get typecasted for this.
I see your point, but I would also like just to add that I don't think there was ever like a requested expansion upon the It series in a way.
Yeah.
But considering Stephen King was so high on the two movies that Moose Yeti did, I think he'd be a lot more welcome. In my opinion, honestly, as long as Stephen King gives the okay for it, there shouldn't be an issue. But I do think Sean has a point. Like I don't really want to see Skarsgård get typecast, but I will also say that the timing of that announcement happened very shortly after the fact that it came out that Skarsgård allegedly was not happy with the way The Crow ended. So I think that's not coincidence. No, I think that was kind of intentional because that is a role that he is known for. That is a role he enjoyed playing. And honestly, that is a role that he can play kind of eternally in a sense, because the character in itself, Pennywise, is kind of an eternal kind of role, more or less. So to see him come back for the prequel series is like, oh, okay, well, this is even more of an incentive for fans of that IP to watch it now, because now you've got, the connection there from the movies to this show. So I do think Sean has a point, though. I don't want to see him get typecast. I really do not want to see, Bill Skarsgård should be the Joker for the DCU. Fuck no.
Oh, yeah. That's coming. That's going to happen regardless.
Fucking not. And that's not even me. That's not even me saying, like, Skarsgård can't or won't. I just think, like, that's such a lazy fucking fan cast. Let's just not go down that route, because that's exactly what it would lead to.
Yeah, I agree. It absolutely would. And he might even turn the role down because he's like, I don't want to just keep playing clowns that are, demented and twisted and all that.
Or people in face.
It's not really that wasn't my career plan.
I think just being related to, of course, his dad and his brothers, and they're all, heavy hitters out there in their own right. I don't think he'll get typecast.
I don't
think he has that problem because of them. If he was just alone and didn't have brothers, then he could fall into that. But he comes from a just a lineage like the fucking Baldwins.
Yeah,
they can't get typecast.
I do agree.
How many of the Baldwins have been actually doing work though outside?
After Biodome, they went.
Yeah, where's Stephen out? You tell me when the last time you saw Stephen Baldwin.
Whenever I hear the Baldwins, I think of South Park.
Yeah,
like that's it. We're going to bomb the Baldwins. I'm not being a Baldwin. Yeah, me too.
So Bigger, long, and uncut. And then the one that survives ends up getting the last bomb dropped on him. Yeah, that was great.
If we take
Jesus Christ! They just took out the Baldwins.
If we take the Baldwin formula and apply it to this family, then Bill's screwed.
But I do agree with Ryan though that he's people protected from that to an extent. Just because again he is a Skarsgård and they're a very talented family, so he's probably not in as much danger of that happening. But that's definitely a risk you do run.
Yeah, but
it's a risky business.
But you're not going to look.
It is a risky business.
When people are looking at parts, they're not going to say, "Oh, well, because Bill's related to this lineage or these great actors, we'll go ahead and cast him in something that's different." They're going to ultimately look at his, what are your credits?
His body of work,
body of work, right? And if you've been doing it. Crow, the Joker, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, you kind of stick to we don't know your range because we don't have anything to go on, right?" So I think to Phil's point, absolutely not Joker. That would just be a lazy thing. Give the guy some time to breathe, show his range like his brothers have done, and I think you won't fall into the Stephen Baldwin formula.
I
never thought we'd end up on the Baldwins, but they're using as an example.
Baldwins.
But one last piece of sort of just like media news that we'll get to before we talk about the latest Star Wars Disney Plus show. There's new talks with director Sean Levy to be in the midst of directing Avengers 5. And of course, Sean Levy is going to be doing
Eugene Levy's.
But he is doing Deadpool and Wolverine. And Phil, what were the other things that he has done? because you mentioned in the group chat the other day that Sean Levy has done a couple other films recently that kind of puts him in the running for this.
Yeah, so I sent off in the group chat that this news broke, and Sean Levy is famous for directing Free Guy. He's done The Adam Project on Netflix with Ryan Reynolds. He's done a couple episodes of Stranger Things, as well as an executive producer role on Stranger Things. And then, of course, the most recent credit to his name is Deadpool and Wolverine. Before any of this, I honest to God thought Sean Levy might take up X-Men when the time came to find a director. But the fact that he's allegedly being courted as the top choice for Avengers 5. And after seeing trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm like, well, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This absolutely makes a lot of sense. If the studio is superbly happy with Deadpool and Wolverine, as everyone seems to be, I mean, for crying out loud, the movie had movie tickets put on sale 2 months before it. A couple people that I know have looked at movie time showings at the earliest time, fucking sold out everywhere on Thursday for their Thursday showings. Like, this is going to be a big fucking movie. And when you have like an ensemble cast, consisting of like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and whoever else is cameoing, and then you factor also in like, his work with the Adam Project, or even something like Free Guy, which was also a pretty big spectacle-filled film with a lot of other people and a lot of different characters from a lot of different, I wouldn't necessarily say IPs, but you had a lot of different components working there with various different kinds of characters. And then, of course, Stranger Things, given the ensemble cast there. I do feel like Sean Levy is a very powerful and practical choice for something like Avengers 5, especially considering that they had to completely retool it following the firing of Jonathan Majors. So if the movie is still following some semblance of like some kind of multiversal adventure and you're assembling a brand new team of characters, I feel like if anyone can probably pull it off at this point, it's probably going to be Sean Levy, if he chooses to take the fucking gig. That is the important thing there, because they have said, it said in the THR article that he did turn it down in March due to his scheduling commitments to Stranger Things season 5. But the fact that Marvel is willing to be like, no, go ahead and finish Stranger Things, we'll let you do it. But they're also considering their options of other directors, but they very well could just be like, we want Levy to do it because of Deadpool and Wolverine. I would be totally fine with it. I'd be happy with it. Love the project. I think, Free Guy was fine. I don't really like Taika Waititi in that movie, but that's like the only the miss for me. Right. Other than that, the movie's pretty awesome, all things considered. But, and even like, I'm not a fan of Stranger Things. I do think the episodes directed by Sean Levy are great. I do think he's just a very talented filmmaker in his own right, and especially after seeing the trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, I just think this guy is superbly talented. He's probably, at this point, one of the only few directors who probably could pull off Avengers 5 and make it happen.
Well, plus for me, like, go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just going to say, he also did the Ninth Museum series.
He did, yeah.
Yes, he did. You're right. You're right.
When you mentioned, I'm sorry, Dawson, just one more thing real quick.
No.
When you mentioned other things, isn't he also tied to a Star Wars project too, right?
Yes, he is.
Everyone is tied to Star Wars project.
I also think
Ryan's actually tied to a new project that's about to be released.
Cassian Andor 2.
So, I mean, to your point, scheduling wise, I think that could be, that'd probably be the only thing I think could see keeping him from it is something he's already committed to. So, so go ahead, Dawson.
Yeah, no worries. I think for me, like, honestly, even though he's worked on some pretty high level projects, like, again, Stranger Things, the Night Museum, also Deadpool and Wolverine, like, for me, though, I feel like not a lot of people know Sean Levy's name.
Yeah. Right.
He's not necessarily someone that's like, oh, like, I know that guy, he did this, this, and this. Like, unless you're like really into film, news, and entertainment, and all that stuff, it's, for me, it's kind of like a refreshing name. Everybody's like, oh, we'll get Sam Raimi to do it, or get, all these different other guys.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder, or like
Daniel Destin Cretton, right? Like they, and that's the thing. I don't even think the Russos were even like a name, not even after Winter Soldier or Civil War or even both Avengers movies. When people talk about Infinity War and Endgame, they talk about Infinity War and Endgame. Hardly ever are the Russos ever mentioned or brought up. The fact that
they were kind of new for people when they did the Avengers movies that they did. So, and then plus, I mean, those are two bangers in my opinion. So,
but even then, like Winter Soldier, and I think they did Civil War as well. So, like,
the thing is like even before those movies, people were going, the guys who did You, Me, and Dupree, and it's like, yeah, those guys, and Arrested Development too, and everyone went, those guys, Winter Soldier, and then look at Winter Soldier now. It's one of the best, if not the best movie in the MCU catalog.
Yeah.
So, and look at Deadpool and Wolverine. It's bound to be right up there with Winter Soldier, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely hope so.
I mean, let's say Sean spent most of his early times though doing like comedic movies.
Mhm.
From what I remember, like he
Yeah,
did like
that's-
Just
that's-
Married, The Big Fat Liar.
Yep.
I think he did Pink Panther, right? Yeah.
Did he might have done that.
I think he did that one. But he also, I mean, I think the one movie that stood out to me that was more of a serious drama was This Is Where I Leave You with Jason
Yes.
Bateman,
Yes.
which was, I think that was a great movie. So, I mean, it's nice to see that. I think with Deadpool and Wolverine, I think will be kind of that tell. Can he achieve and pull off an
Greatness.
Avengers film?
Greatness.
Greatness.
Achieve greatness.
Because otherwise, outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, he did what? Real Steel.
Yep.
I mean, that would be like the closest thing to.
That was okay.
Yeah. So.
I enjoyed
Real
that
Steel.
one. It had its moments.
It had its moments, but looking at his body of work, that would be the closest thing outside of Deadpool and Wolverine. So
Yeah, for sure. But with that, before we get into talking about the Acolyte, it's time for, although he didn't go to the theater this week, it is time though for Phil at the Movies. Begin.
As Dawson mentioned, I did not go to a theater this weekend, but I did see a movie that did get a little bit of buzz when it released, and it did in fact have Bill Skarsgård in it. It's actually quite a nice showcase of his acting ability. I watched the movie Boy Kills World this past Saturday, and oh my God, this was one of the funniest, most action-packed films I've watched in a long while. Bill Skarsgård plays a deaf-mute assassin set out to kill an entire family of people for allegedly killing his family. There's a couple of different plot twists. It's got a pretty solid stacked supporting cast between like Famke Jensen. Damn it, who's the guy from Stranger Things who plays Murray? That actor, forgive me, I forget his name, like Glenn something. And then there's also Sarah Roche from the Happy Death Day films. She's in it as well. But like it basically the movie is John Wick meets Scott Pilgrim versus the World if they raise Deadpool's cousin. That's what that movie basically is, because as I said, the character is deaf and mute. His inner voice is voiced by J. something Benjamin, the guy who voices Bob Belcher in Archer. It's monologued by him throughout the entire movie, and it's pretty fucking funny. This movie has some of the most slickest tight action I've seen in a while. It kind of puts the Mortal Kombat movie to shame in a lot of ways. But then again, the editing of those fight sequences in that movie is piss poor at best. But yeah, like this movie is super action packed. It's pretty funny, and it's got a very it's like I said, it's very John Wick meets Scott Pilgrim versus the World in a lot of ways. There's a couple video game references and acknowledgments. The way it's kind of structured is kind of video game-y a little bit, because the main character does kind of have a thing for video games that he used to play with his sister. It's a revenge story. It's, there isn't really too much meat to that story in and of itself, but it is very much like it's well made. I definitely think it's worth the watch. It's on, I think, Amazon or something, streaming everywhere. It's streaming in certain places, I'm sure, but like, yeah, it was definitely worth the watch. I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I quite enjoyed it.
So you're talking about Brett Gelman, right? That's who.
Yes, thank you, Brett Gelman. Yes.
And the Archer guy was his name's H. John Benjamin.
H. John Benjamin. Yes.
H.G. Wells.
And honestly, like the thing that really made me laugh my ass off, Brett Gelman calls another character in the movie a fuck puppet. I have never laughed harder at a film all year. Like that was hands down the funniest line I've heard in a long fucking while. Was someone being called a fuck puppet. I fucking died of laughter.
I call Ryan that all the time.
I'm sure you do, because he is kind of a fuck puppet.
Wow, clip that.
I called him today. I literally said, Ryan, you fuck puppet. And he said, yeah, that's me.
You internet fuck puppet. That's what you were.
The casualness of Andre's voice. With that, this has been Phil at the Movies.
A packed audience too. Packed audience.
I can actually see the interaction happening between Andre and Ryan. Just him calling him up and saying that. Just
it wasn't hard when I was in the same house as he was.
That has some interesting implications.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of fun.
Oh, all right.
California is a nice place to visit.
California is a nice place.
Nice place to visit. Ain't a nice place to live. That's for sure.
Pretty expensive.
Expensive, I hear.
Yeah, expensive it is.
Expensive. Yeah.
I always say I would go back to California to visit it, but I never go back and live there again.
Good
No
man,
offense-
smart man. You
no
smart
offense
man.
to any Californians out there. But
Go to Kansas. Go to Kansas.
I'm
and drive.
I'm not crossing that border. No, thank you.
I don't blame you.
No.
I don't blame you. I'll come to you. I will come to you.
Yeah, it's bad enough my state border is California, so that's bad enough.
So when it comes to the whole Sean Levy thing, I don't know if we all touched on it.
I don't think everyone did. No.
We went from that right into Phil the movies, which is fine. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, well, that's that's par for the course for Dawson. He's like, you guys.
Shame on you! Go f yourself!
He's like, I'm busy drawing. I don't care about anyone
I know.
else's opinions.
Let's just keep the show moving.
Move along.
Move along.
Well, you're drawing too, smartass. Come on.
No, you gotta tickle their balls a little bit.
I wanted to whip it out.
To
This
California.
is the internal
California.
the internal Ryan dialogue.
Yes.
You know, RJ had mentioned some backlash or, you know, kind of negative talk about Sean Levy, you know, doing Avengers 5.
What?
I think it's because it's like the obvious choice right now because of the anticipation and the hype around Deadpool and Wolverine.
Dude, I can't take you seriously in that hat.
I'm not wearing a hat.
only one's wearing a hat is Sean.
I know.
Oh, no!
But no, I think it's a good choice. But like then again, I still got to see Deadpool Wolverine. If that movie hits on all cylinders and it's a badass movie, then I'm like, yes, let's go for it.
And if it's a hit, then it's gonna be fast track to them trying to like lock him down for Avengers 5.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
but
be
if
like,
it
hey,
sucks,
take whatever money you want.
If it sucks.
I don't think it's gonna suck. I don't think it
No, I
can
don't
suck.
either.
Like,
Dang, I can't
but
believe
if it
you
does, then
insinuate
maybe
that.
not. Maybe not. But I don't know. I mean, the guy has a pretty wide range of projects that he's already had that he has under his belt, so I think he can definitely do it. But I think
I think you
it's
need
the
to see
obvious
him.
choice right now. It's the obvious choice.
I think for you probably just need to see him tackle a Marvel property before you see him do Avengers, right? You need that Winter Soldier guarantee.
You got to see a little bit of that. I mean, like the Russo brothers, when they announced, oh, they're going to do Infinity War, it was like, oh, that only makes sense. Like, got it.
Right.
You know, so and this one, even though it's Deadpool and Wolverine, it's an ensemble film. I mean, how many cameos are you going to get? You're going to get tons of cameos everywhere.
Right.
So again, this is like handling you know, like a Secret Wars kind of movie where you're going to have an abundance of characters, which I don't know how they're going to, you know, manage that, but you know, we'll see how this one turns out. And if they've already seen it and they think it's amazing, then he probably is going to be the guy. I mean, who would be the choice now? You're not going to get like a Denis Villeneuve. He's not going to come over to Marvel. You know?
God, no.
You know what I mean? Christopher Nolan, no.
Now that you mention it, I did see that dipshit Jeff Snyder's trying to say that Jordan Peele had talks with Marvel Studios. I'm like, yeah, okay,
No,
when pigs
he would
fly.
not.
When fucking pigs fly, my guy.
Yeah, this is what I think about that.
I don't want your money. I want Aquaman.
Yeah.
That's about it for that, you know.
Yeah.
But
in a way.
like I said, I need to see the movie first.
Yeah.
And if
Oh,
it's
good.
good, which I
Good,
think
yeah,
it's going to
good.
be,
See it.
I think he'd be the obvious choice at this point. Plus, I mean, that'd be the easy way to lock down Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Oh,
we're bringing him
100%.
back too. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm in. And I'm curious to see if Hugh Jackman sticks around. He may not.
Jackman.
I think he'll be around for Secret Wars. Avengers 5, that's a little tougher.
Yeah,
He-
I
he
think
might
Secret
be-
Wars.
Cameo in Secret Wars. I don't see him being
Maybe, but
No.
I think Avengers 5 is just going to be about the Avengers, obviously, but like the current roster and characters that we have out there now that are in 616. Well, Deadpool, Wolverine, I don't know if they're even going to end up on 616. They might end up somewhere else at the end of the movie, and then later, kind of like Loki, where they're going a different route, and then they're going to end up in the same spot as everybody else when it comes to Secret Wars. That way you don't
Right.
have to have them in everything you do. You just, okay, yeah, we'll meet back up with them at Secret Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah, I agree.
We're all like, Yeah. Andre
Jordan
Schroeder.
Peele has his own
okay.
style of movies, so he won't do Marvel.
Yeah, he's even
probably.
said he doesn't. He has no interest in doing superhero movies. So to even like spin that rumor was just like, I'm fishing. Fuck Jeff Snyder.
Oh, you almost had it.
Pack of shit. That's what that guy is.
Well, and then not to derail the show, but like there was also that news about the Green Lantern series that they're going to, not only do they have a team of writers, but they're actually going to start filming it pretty soon. Same with Booster Gold.
Q1 of 25, right? Is what's alleged for Lanterns. They want to start shooting it allegedly in Q1 25.
Yeah, but Booster Gold is supposed to film like sometime this year, but yet they haven't announced.
No, that was debunked. James Gunn flat out
I was
said,
gonna
no, this
say
is not true.
they haven't even announced the actor yet. And they're like, oh yeah,
They
we're
haven't
gonna
announced-
film,
We haven't even announced a writer or a showrunner. So why
we're gonna
would
start
they?
filming next month with just me and a couple of guys. It didn't make
We
any
thought the
sense.
filming plan for how the Green Lantern movie went was a really good template for what we're going to do. So we're just going to write things as we're going.
Good lord.
Yeah,
Terminator Salvation. The
Yeah.
the other news. Well,
We
if you wanna
can't
call it
lose.
news. There was a post on 4chan. Okay,
nice.
4chan about the supposed Flash, Rick Famuyiwa version of the movie. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
No.
Nope.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pull that up real quick.
Oh.
Hey, we're still leaving it alone.
Sure.
All right.
By all means,
We all should
go
just
ahead.
yes then.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
thought
we
we
stayed
dodged
peaceful.
that one, but
I know, too late. I got you. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Oh, wow,
real quick.
that's a lot.
Well, you want one of us
Oh,
to
it
read this?
doesn't do that. It doesn't blow up.
No, you're gonna have
It's
to
just
read
like,
it from your
nope.
screen.
Here we go. The script was written in 2016 and was canon to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay,
Sounds
obviously.
about right. Yeah.
The plot follows Barry Allen's evolution, both as a hero and as an investigator. At the start, he still fights crime in secret and is only concerned about reinvestigating his mother's case. This already sounds wrong. In the end, he becomes a public hero and proves himself to be a forensic scientist. The villains are Captain Cold and Golden Glider,
That
Who
much
are
is
hi-
true. That
who
much
are
I
hi-
recall
yeah.
being the case. Yeah.
who are hired to steal the components of an electromagnetic weapon from Star Labs. Captain Cold has an exoskeleton with cryogenic weapons. Sounds like Mr. Freeze. And Golden Glider has a device that allows her to glide through solid matter. This is a major subplot as Barry... Gotta get closer. Hold on. This is a major subplot as Barry is trying to prove that a reformed criminal was framed for a murder he didn't commit, and exposing corrupt cops who have been fabricating evidence for years, including Barry's father's case. Iris West helps Barry expose the corrupt cops because her brother was also framed and died in prison. And she bonds with Barry over losing people to the corrupt system. She knows about Barry's powers fuck that one up. She knows about Barry's powers from the start after he saved her in Justice League and is one of the names and is the one who names him the Flash. And that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Names him?
Sure.
Sure.
Well, no, that like, because he saved her in Justice League, that she would be like, oh,
Didn't they do something like that in the TV show too, where Iris was
I
the one who named him the Flash? I honestly don't remember. But
we are the
so.
Flash.
Yeah.
Cyborg helps Barry investigate the rogues and joins in on the battle to fight Golden Glider. Barry's father, Henry Allen, helps Barry expose the corrupt cops by saving an informant who was locked up with him in Iron Heights after the cops attempt to leave him killed. It's a lot about like corrupt cops.
Yep.
The supporting characters include Roman Burke, leader of the corrupt cops, Alex Petrov, Barry's boss at the crime lab, who is working with Burke, Captain David Singh, and detectives Fred. Okay, whatever. Paul Gamby, the Rogues handler. Lex Luthor is revealed as the Rogues employer in the end. That would be cool.
Of course.
That makes sense. Considering Captain Cold was a part of that Legion of Doom lineup.
And that would reconnect everything. That would make sense.
Right.
There are 3 major action scenes. The opening with Barry fighting crime across Central City and foiling the Rogues before they get their weapons, and the second confrontation where the Rogues nearly kill the Flash. In the final battle, Barry and Cyborg fight the rogues who use the electromagnetic weapon to cause several disasters across the city that Barry and Cyborg must deal with, while also having to protect Iris from the corrupt cops.
Yep.
Golden Glider dies with her when her device malfunctions and disintegrates her. Oh, that sucks. Captain Cold blames the Flash and ends up in jail, but Luthor breaks him out and recruits him for the Injustice Gang.
Yep.
Gang?
I know. Why do you call them gang?
Justice League, Legion of Doom, whatever they were going to call it. Yeah.
Group, yeah. Burke is killed by Shuri and Petrov. By Shuri and Petrov is arrested. Having proved they fabricated evidence against Henry, Barry convinces the judge to grant Henry an appeal to overturn his sentence. Barry's time travel in Justice League is referenced, and he briefly reverses time again. He also learns how to phase through solid objects, become invisible, create vortexes, move so fast that he can be at two places at once, and bring others into his speed aura. What? Reverse Flash is only alluded to in a nightmare that Barry has about his mother's death, and a brief moment when he steps into the Speed Force and senses someone else is there with him.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean this
doesn't sound
cool.
all that wrong.
No, it doesn't.
Would you rather have
Sounds better
seen
than
that
what we
movie, or would you rather have seen the one we got?
I'm pretty sure we all would have rather seen that movie than the one that we got.
I concur.
There you go.
That would have been cool to see Cyborg fighting with Barry.
Would have been nice. Thanks, Walter.
I know.
Yep. Oh well, that sucks.
Yeah.
What could have been? But
Right.
with that being said, let's get to we have about 30 minutes left from what we usually do. Who all here has seen the first two episodes of The Acolyte? Okay, so Phil, no one else except for me.
You didn't watch it either, Sean?
I have not seen it yet. No.
Okay.
All right. So I guess it'll be kind of a shorter thing. So Phil, give us some of your thoughts on these first two episodes of the show so far, and then I'll give my.
But I will say for myself, I'm okay with spoilers. I'll just speak for myself on that.
All right. So Phil, let's set you up. Basically,
it's funny. I did almost see The Acolyte in theaters, but I just didn't make it out there in time. So it's whatever.
They had like a screening for.
Yeah, they had a special screening for fans that would have seen the first two episodes on the big screen, but I just couldn't make it out to where it was in time by the time I'd gotten home and everything. So
Dawson, the Disney Plus series.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. There's a little bit of prequel and sequel vibes kind of going on with The Acolyte in terms of narrative, and I enjoyed what I saw. I think that the first two episodes kind of set the stage for what's to come pretty nicely. I'm not too in tune with the High Republic era of Star Wars. Like I haven't read any of the books or anything like that. I'm just familiar with the time frame in which the series takes place. I think they do a pretty solid job of keeping the villain a mystery, but I also think there's at least one or two twists there that are very intriguing, to say the least. Overall, I'm very intrigued and impressed. I'll be watching it week to week, obviously, and I'll probably be reviewing it for a website, Multiverse of Color, here pretty soon. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I saw. I did like the inclusion of Carrie-Anne Moss. I do like. Wow, I'm gonna just pull up the cast list here because I don't remember who's who. For
so those first two episodes, was she predominantly in those, or was she just kind of a couple minutes and that was kind of it for her?
She's in it as far as the episode stands. She's only in the first episode. That's about as far as I'm willing to say. But
no, that's fair. That's fair.
Lee Jung Jae. Shut the fuck up, Ryan.
she dies.
But Lee Jung Jae, he does a really good he does a really good job as Master Soul. He gives off some kind of Master Qui-Gon vibes in certain respects. What I did not expect was Amandla Stenberg. She's actually pulling double time as the Acolyte and another character. There's a twist going on with the other character that's I didn't at all see coming. They did a pretty good job of hiding it in the marketing. But yeah, the main character you're following is a character named Osha, and you find out that the Acolyte is in fact her twin sister. So that was pretty interesting, a pretty interesting reveal for me anyway. Because they did like I said, they did a pretty solid job of hiding Osha in the marketing. Like they didn't show her at all. So when her character showed up in the show, at first I was like, oh, okay, well she's clearly kind of like pulling a double agent thing. But then no, they tease and then outright confirm, oh no, she's got an evil twin sister, and that's who the Acolyte is. I was like, oh, this is fucking cool.
When they showed Osha, I kept expecting to see like a title like 5 years earlier or something, or some kind of like
right,
like that. But like to your point, yeah, it was very well hidden. There were some pretty solid twists in here. Basically, this show is, I mean, we kind of expected this from the get-go. It's basically like kind of a murder mystery involving Jedi, and a sort of secret underground society of, again, acolytes, right? I enjoyed, for the most part, these first 2 episodes. There was nothing that I really genuinely disliked about them. I think the fight choreography was a highlight for me in both these episodes. I think they did a really great job of highlighting the fighting abilities of the Jedi. You know, one of the main draws for me, of course, this series was Carrie-Anne Moss, and the fact that she's not that involved is kind of disappointing to me. But
in fairness, this is only the first 2 episodes, and considering you and I know the plot of what's to come, there very well could be more for her to come down the line in flashback form.
Which I've seen theories about that, where possibly like her being there, and so like I'm interested to see what they do with that. But I absolutely have to agree with you that Lee Jung-jae as Master Soul is fantastic. He's also the highlight for me in this series. He really is believable as a very wise Jedi Master. You know, his fight choreography specifically was really impressive to me. And like you said, Amanda Stenberg, she's doing a good job, like playing 2 different characters. Some of the lines they give her don't necessarily resonate as much as they would have hoped, for me at least.
Sure.
But overall, she's doing a solid job. Daphne Keane is like, you know, there, and
the new Padawan
job.
Yeah.
Jackie Lon is her name. And then the one character that I have yet to be really impressed by so far, I mean, not necessarily that any of these characters outside of Master Soul is really blown out of the water for me, but like Yord Fandar, played by Charlie Barnett.
Goofy name.
Yeah. I need to see more from him. I need to see more from him. He also got a lot of hot water for saying that Anakin Skywalker was the one that blew up the Death Star, so he's kind of gotten a lot of pushback from that. In an interview he did.
Didn't he? I did see that. Yeah.
What a moron.
Well, also, we don't know if he was talking about like the first or second Death Star, but either way, he's wrong. But
so what's the time, so what's the time period on this? Isn't this supposed to be before the
100 years before the Phantom Menace?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's what I thought.
And ironically enough, I think a lot of people like assumed that Yoda was going to show up, but Leslie Headland confirmed like a couple days ago in an interview with, I think, comicbook.com, that Yoda will in fact not show up in season 1.
Okay.
So I mean, I'd love to see possibly in the future they could, you know, get involved, because he is there. I mean, he's
I'm sure
years old by the time Return of the Jedi happens. So I'd love to see him anyway. I'd love to see what they do with the modern technology of having that version of Yoda there, a little bit younger.
I think it's important to also just, you know, if they're going to deliberately set it in the High Republic era, I think it's actually quite smart to just focus on that era of characters. And I mean, yeah, the ties to what has come before is nice, but I think there's also just this precedence of like, we want to focus on these characters. I mean, if you look at like Mandalorian season 1, they kind of allude to Boba Fett before they brought him on in season 2.
Yeah,
I could see them doing that with Yoda. I could see like a passing dialogue reference about Master Yoda happening in the Acolyte before they actually go full throttle and show him. So,
does it feel like Star Wars, or does it feel like you're watching
more so than a lot of recent stuff? I feel.
Well, that's good.
Well, recent stuff was Ahsoka. What are you talking about?
Well, I think it's
in general.
General Kenobi.
I just look. I like all Star Wars. I don't have, you know, a negative opinion of a lot of what's been made in the Disney era, and I think pulling from the High Republic is actually quite good, because it's ironic, because people are like, we want more Star Wars that's not connected to Skywalkers. That's exactly what this is. And what is the audience score on this? On Rotten Tomatoes, 45%. It's like, you got what you fucking wanted and you don't like it. What the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, the main things that, like, for me, I'm sitting here thinking about the show, is that the main thing for me is that there's some moments of dialogue that are just kind of head scratchers. Like,
sure, I think some of the delivery and some of the performances in certain respects can be a little tame and a little, you know, bland.
Like May a couple times, she's like attack me with all of your strength, and like goes into an odd like attack.
That's forced.
Like,
That is
very
forced.
Very, very forced. Also, there's like some small inconsistencies, like where at the end of the first episode, the hidden figure who's like in charge of like overseeing everything is like, you know, killing Jedi without a weapon when May just killed a Jedi with a weapon. Last I checked, the dagger is a weapon. So it's like there's some things there that just doesn't make sense to me.
I think it could have been written a little bit better because I'm sure they're probably alluding to like a lightsaber. That's probably what they mean. But you're right. You're absolutely correct. Like, yeah, you're not supposed. Her mission is to kill a Jedi without a weapon. I'd have to imagine it's a little bit more, you know, directly tied to the fact that they use lightsabers, and that's probably what they meant. But it's not exactly clear the way it's delivered.
And it's interesting how in all the interactions two of the three interactions we see May with a Jedi that she's trying to kill, she's trying to swipe for the lightsaber that they have.
So I think the reason that is because more often than not, when a Sith gets a lightsaber, it's usually from a former instructor or if a former Jedi, and they fuel the crystal with their rage, and that's how it turns red. That's ultimately what I think she's trying to prove. Like, she's got to kill all four of them, whoever she has to kill, and then whichever one she manages to kill last, that's going to be the lightsaber she takes, and it's going to fucking turn red.
Yeah, and which makes
sense.
Wait.
So there's Sith?
I mean,
the show is called The Acolyte.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, in the Phantom Menace, they said that they haven't been around for 1,000 years. This is 100 years.
Well, it's also something that like the Jedi are trying to take care of the situation discreetly, so that their political enemies don't find out about it. So they're trying to have this idea of like, oh, they're taking care of this, you know, outside of the public eye, and so maybe some Jedi don't know about it. That's the idea anyway. We'll see how it actually turns out. It doesn't fully contradict for me yet.
Not only that, just because someone says that they haven't been around 1,000 years doesn't mean that's actually the case. Like, this show is clearly embodying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I would think that Mace and Yoda would be the ones that would foremost know above anyone else.
Well, here's the thing: Palpatine rose right below their noses, and they didn't know about it until the last minute.
I'll give you that.
I don't want this stunted slime in my sight again.
So I understand this series is I think it's eight episodes, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So based on what you've seen thus far in the two episodes, do you feel like it's on pace to achieve its story within this small series of episodes?
So I think
we find ourselves sometimes with these types of shows where some things will either start to feel rushed or completely incomplete, and then that really then just, you know, puts a
damper
on the whole thing for the fans.
I think, given that they know at least Leslie Headland, the showrunner and creator of the show, she stated that she wants to do multiple seasons.
Okay.
So, my hope is that you tell a complete story within this first season, but don't leave it on such an obvious cliffhanger or anything like that. Like leave it as a complete story, but leave it open-ended enough to where you can tell more stories. I think is where I'm with it. But considering that the premise of this as of right now is, okay, we have this Acolyte, she's going to try and kill 4 Jedi. I'm not going to say how many die by the first 2 episodes because I feel like it's a little too much, but yeah, like that is the driving narrative of this first season. You know, I feel like it set itself well enough. I think the foundation is there for it to be a solid next 6 weeks. I'm not sure how Dawson feels about that. If you want to chime in, Dawson.
Yeah, I think overall I would agree. I think there's some storylines that I feel like you can, without rushing it, follow through in the next 6 episodes. I mean, they established this whole dynamic of, well, the sisters didn't know that the other was alive.
Right.
So it's like we got to learn what they were told, how they were brought up, and obviously like both have a connection to the Jedi, but they were unaware of each other's existence in that same sphere. So we got to learn like what went down there. Why is May the way that she is? Why is she trying to hunt down Jedi?
And why? And what exactly led Osha to depart from the Jedi Order too? Right. Like that.
Right.
That's
I mean,
also
there's
a question.
There's hints that Osha wasn't as Force sensitive, and so like it was a struggle for her. Whereas May like is shown in the series to like be more so inclined to use the Force.
Yep.
But there's also like a sense of they established that there is a sense of guilt in the Jedi surrounding this situation because I mean, the sisters are from this planet, and there was a lot of warfare and a fire specifically, and there was Jedi there watching that weren't able to do anything. And so there's some resentment held there. But there's some small thing or some interesting stories that can be culminated in 6 more episodes and not feel too rushed, in my opinion, unless they continue to add more and more stuff. The main thing that I've seen is that it's quite a dichotomy between people that love the series so far and people that hate it, especially when I've seen like critics in regards to episodes 3 and 4, because critics got to see the first 4 episodes. And I've seen some that really thought the show fell off in the 3rd episode. I've seen others that say that it really took off even further. It was great. So it's like, obviously I don't trust either one of those. I'm just going to view it for myself, but it's interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, do they handle these stories that they've kickstarted well, or do they just kind of fumble the bag? So, I mean,
I think Master Soul and, the other few characters are interesting enough to keep tuning in for at least for the next 6 weeks.
Master Soul specifically, yes,
definitely 100%. He's very much a lot like Qui-Gon Jinn. I think for me, the intrigue about why these 4 Jedi are being hunted and what exactly happened on that planet all those years ago between the twins, and there's even like some like Luke Leia remnants parallels going on there, because you had 2 twins separated, not necessarily at birth, but like separated from this at the time of this tragedy, and then being raised completely unaware of each other's existence, only to find out years later, oh shit, yeah, you are alive. Holy fuck, what does this mean? Right? And I don't know. I just really think that some people might be a little hyperbolic about it. They might, be a little underwhelmed about it too, because it's Star Wars, that you're never going to please everybody at this point. Right? So I think, honestly, like it can go either way, but I think if you're invested enough, you're going to watch it one way or the other.
Yeah.
So last question I have on this is something you guys mentioned. I think, Phil, you mentioned it, was around, I think, Dawson, you brought it up, around trying to swipe the Jedi's saber.
Yeah, so in the first 2 episodes, May, the Acolyte, on a couple occasions, at least early in the fights, she is seen dodging a strike from a Jedi, or trying to like go underneath the arm and like swiping and trying to grab the Jedi's lightsaber.
Yeah, so that I think that clip, I mean, I remember that clip coming out as kind of like a teaser clip before the season dropped. So my question is, I don't recall any, and I could be wrong because I'm not as versed in the lore of Star Wars, but my understanding was like the focus, or however you want to refer to them, the focus or the kyber crystals, they don't necessarily change. Like,
so the thing with
that could be, I don't know if that's something that they were doing for this story.
They changed that as far as like, making it bleed red.
Yeah.
They changed that. It wasn't originally like that.
I didn't think it was.
Because red lightsabers originally, the kyber crystals were synthetic and not naturally growing on that planet. So
that is correct.
I think they are going with the more like bleeding the kyber crystal angle with it. But yeah, so like, because again with Jedi, they make a whole big deal ceremony to build their lightsaber, build their own kyber crystal. Yeah,
right.
Take them there as a youngling, and then Sith Lords, except for like tweaking, generally don't necessarily build their own lightsaber, but use other Jedis and bleed it and customize it.
Yeah, because I remember the story around, and again, anyone on here can correct me if I have this wrong, but I remember during the story of the Sith War, they used Kunda crystal stones. They didn't necessarily use the crystals. They were using like a natural geologic like matter as what was powering their sabers. So that's why I was curious how this was playing out in the story, if something was changing, but it makes sense what you're saying.
There's that, and then I think in a very recent book regarding Darth Vader, like right after, it takes place like right after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Darth Vader basically goes on this hunting spree of Jedi who have been, who were not killed in Order 66, rounds up all their lightsabers, has them melted down, but he takes one specifically, bleeds the kyber crystal red.
Okay. Got it.
That's where that I think is coming from a more recent stand. I think it could be done either way. I'm not 100% on those details because, as Ryan mentioned before, Sith traditionally did use red kyber crystals to make their sabers as well. But I think the whole bleeding of the crystals is a recent thing. I even think Kylo Ren did that to his saber. Like, he took it from a former Jedi and fucking bled the crystal with his rage.
And it was cracked, which is why it cracked more than
exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if like the last scene in this first season is May finally swiping a lightsaber and bleeding the kyber crystal, and then it's just ignited as a red blade, and that's when it cuts off.
And I could easily see like Osha going back to the Jedi Order after all is said and done, if her sister is indeed the becomes the Sith acolyte she intends to become after this all is said and done.
And of course, the main mystery that is set up in these first 2 episodes is who the heck is this person that trained May.
Yep.
They're a masked figure. They almost kind of look very similar to Kylo Ren to an extent.
The mask is very similar to Kylo Ren.
Very similar. And the voice modulator almost sounds a little bit more like Darth Vader. So we'll see, because like there's a lot of people theorizing, it could be Darth Plagueis, or it could be like a young Palpatine, which like wouldn't really make any sense because he's 60 years old when the Empire takes over. So that's before he's alive.
He's young somehow.
It would probably be Plagueis
He's
if they
a
want to go down
youngling.
that route. But my personal guess is that they're going to introduce a completely new character as like a Sith acolyte.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Plagueis,
if they really wanted to piss people off, it would be a take on Revan.
Oh yeah. Gosh dang it. Now that you mention it, I can see them doing that.
Like I said, if they really wanted to piss hardcore fans off, it would be a take on Darth Revan.
Oh.
I don't
Don't
think
manifest that into the universe.
I don't
please.
think it will be. I don't think it will be, but I think it. I'm thinking I'm with you. It's probably going to be a more original High Republic era creation. That's what I think it's going to be.
Well,
Or
and Disney probably had a conference call with Sony, and so they said, "Yeah, absolutely, do it."
Yeah,
Honestly,
Sony's like, yeah, no, hey, and when you're done, can we give it to Spider-Man?
well, honestly, like to your point, Phil, one thing that would really piss off a lot of old head Star Wars fans would be if it is a take on Revan and the guy takes off his helmet and it's Keanu Reeves.
That'd be hilarious.
Because
That
like
would be
people
fucking
wanted
hilarious.
Keanu Reeves to be Revan for years, and they would put in that situation completely out of context and out of
It would
the
screw up
timeline,
continuity because then you'd have Adam Driver who looks like Keanu Reeves, so now they're related and not Han
Yeah.
Solo.
And the first thing he would say if he spoke, he'd be like, "Where's
Whoa.
Trinity?
That might
I
make
am
it serious.
Neo.
I bet you anything
Where's
that
Trinity?"
the acolyte, the acolyte's
Trin.
master. I bet you anything the acolyte's master is probably another Jedi who, after witnessed what happened on that planet, went, "Nope, I'm not fucking dealing with any of this." That's another thing about the acolyte, is they're making it very clear that the Jedi are not as great as they prop themselves up to be. Because very early on in the first episode, Yord attempts to do the Jedi mind trick on one of the separatist people, and then another one's like, "Here, we'll tell you where it's at," and it's like, that is a showcase of fucking power and abusing it.
Yeah, specifically Yord is the one who is quick to draw his lightsaber, quick to
Yep.
use his power. So
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, towards the end of the series or this season, he's kind of tempted to join with the acolytes and kind of use his power in that way. Which right now he's very much a by the books Jedi. He's very much a rule follower.
But
like,
he's
I
also
would-
very quick to act too, to your point.
Yes, and so maybe something happens to where he's disenchanted by the ways of the Jedi. I see through the lies of the Jedi.
Well, it's not cool to be a Jedi anymore.
No,
It's not.
It's
It's
not.
not. Wholesome is no good.
No good.
no, you can't be
Yeah.
wholesome nowadays.
It's cool to be a
Not more.
Sith. That's
It's
what everyone wants
alright.
to be now. Everyone's like, I want to be
Everyone
a
wants to be a
Sith.
Sith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's cool to sit online and be rage
Just
bait.
still in absolutes. Honestly, after seeing this two-parter beginner, I'm really tempted to go back and play Jedi Fallen Order.
It's a great game. I like. I need to play
Yeah.
the second one. I haven't played that one yet.
I think it's on sale. I think you can pick it up for like half or a little more than half price now. I think it might be on sale. You might want
Maybe
to check.
I'll get it and I'll stream it, and Ryan will wonder why isn't he gaming with me
What would you play it on? P4, PS4, PC?
on my computer? Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
If
So
it was-
PC.
Yeah, I'll check on PlayStation 5 and see if it's still discounted or not. Because I got Fallen Order for like $5.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fucking cheap right now.
Dang. Well, that's
Well, it was cheap when I got it. It might
I
still be
was
cheap.
pissed off people who paid like $70 for it when it came out.
I did.
I bought it at like $40 a while ago, and then I returned it because I didn't have the time to play it. But now that my game time is kind of freed up because I beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in the original game, I'm kind of dipping my toe into other stuff at the moment. So I might just dabble into Fallen Order because of like the Acolyte and stuff, and I just want to stay in a Star Wars mindset.
Yeah.
That would pave the way for me to play Jedi Fallen Survivor, or Jedi, what is it, Fallen Survivor, Last Survivor, Jedi Survivor, whatever it's called.
I think
The
it's
sequel.
Survivor, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that though, kind of going back to the Acolyte, so far it's starting off at least solid. It's not blowing me away, but it's also like, again, has its ups and downs, some forced dialogue like Phil and I mentioned, but some interesting setups for a story that could potentially be really interesting if it's played out well and executed well.
Yeah, and I mean, even there are like maybe bits of a performance that might be flat. That doesn't make the entire performance flat in certain respects. And also, I think when you're dealing with Amandla, when she's doing double time, it's going to be, she's probably going to be a little stronger in one role as opposed to the other. And obviously, when you're doing something like a Sith, and she does the same thing twice, it can feel kind of corny, because when she fights Indara, she's like, attack me or whatever, and then she does the same fucking thing to the second one. It's like, all right, this is a little.
I did appreciate that the first time she did it in the opening scene of the first episode, that like the people laughed, her reacted like we would, like, are you serious?
Right.
So I appreciate that sort of what's it called, self-awareness.
Yeah.
And the second time it's just like, okay, we get it.
And even then, the second time, it's also kind of self-aware of the fact, because the second person just doesn't fucking respond at all. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, if people are hardcore Star Wars fans out there and you haven't been fully disenchanted by Star Wars, I'd say give it a shot. It's
absolutely. Yeah. More Star Wars is never a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're closing in on the 2-hour mark. Was there anything else we want to bring up? Was there any other news we had kind of missed or skimmed over? Or
I don't think so. Joker 2 dropped another teaser.
Oh, it did?
It did.
I totally missed that.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Well, of course you're on top of it, Mr. I watch Joker once a month.
Homie,
once a week.
Once a week.
I've watched it 3 times today alone.
Oh my God. Get out of here.
Nice.
Guys, if I could turn I have it playing right here on my iPad.
Nice.
Are you serious?
Wow. I appreciate that, actually.
He's dead serious.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. Props.
I seriously
it's a good movie.
Props. You are a man of your word, Sean.
I need to watch it.
I've been throughout the day I was sitting here and do video editing, because I'm just doing self-taught crash coursing in DaVinci Resolve Studio. And I'll play something in the background. So I think I've restarted. This is the 3rd time go through right now.
Dang.
So yeah, now it's turning down to once a day now. It's not even once a week.
Wow, it's an obsession.
You're really just prepping yourself up for Fall You Do, aren't you?
Man, I cannot wait for that movie to drop.
That's fair.
Even though you get assigned seats, I'll probably still be there an hour early. Open the
Good
doors.
for you, buddy.
Honestly, you're gonna
Good
be able
for
to
you, buddy.
notice every single small instance where the second movie references the first. You'll be like, oh, this is that line.
Absolutely.
That's like me with podcasts right now, but I do need to rewatch Joker. I need to do that.
So, audience, if you haven't done already, watch Joker 1.
Yes. I can agree with that.
Or watch it again.
For the first time.
Cinema incoming.
And then immediately restart it.
And then restart it again.
Restart again.
Oh man.
Until that totally doesn't make you crazy.
Yes.
Totally doesn't make you crazy at all.
Oh man.
Because crazy is not doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, here's the thing though. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. See, Sean knows the result.
I know the result.
That's fair.
He's not expecting a different result.
That's fair. That's fair. That is fair. Very fair.
Oh man.
Well done. Well done.
But with that, we can just go around the horn and say what's going on now with different channels and stuff, any announcements, and also just say our final thoughts. Andre, got any final thoughts for us? Anything new with any updates for us for your channels? I know you just said you reached 2,000 on the Nickatina Show.
Yes. Well, I'm one away. One away.
One away.
One away. So if you're watching,
well, you just went to 2 away.
I know. Now I've gone 2 away probably. So
wait, I haven't got anything yet. Hold on.
Let me see what. What in the hell? Still at 1,999. So
nice.
Eventually we'll
one
get there.
away.
One away.
One more.
Ryan's gonna go unsub.
I'm unsub.
He's like, I'm 4 away now. What the heck?
I signed under a couple of different accounts.
They're my bots.
The bots, yeah, the bots. No, I'm just you can check out all 3 of my channels. The links are on there. If you go to nickatina.net, memberships are available on there. But check out all 3 channels. And then there's communities for all 3 channels that you can join and interact with me and some of the other guys, my co-host Daniel, when we do Beyond the Unknown, as a community for that. So definitely check that out. I'm just trying to do a lot of cool things to try to get more interaction with just fans in general, and just have a good time.
Cool.
Nice. How about you, Jedi Master Phil?
Well, I don't really have much going on as far as the podcast goes. I think I got to talk to Craig about what we're going to do our next episode. He's had some stuff going on in the real world happen, so we haven't been able to record anything. Other than that, I am working on a review for the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, which will debut on Multiverse of Color here pretty soon, the next couple of days. Keep an eye out for that. Other than that, I'll be probably hopping over to the Council Creators after this show, so feel free to follow me there if you wish to do so. Just on YouTube, search for Chainsaw Reacts Council Creators. Other than that, not really much else going on, but yeah.
Nice. And Ryan, you've been a champ at your standing desk today. Got any anything for us?
Yeah, sure. I can show you about what I've been working on. It's fun. Hold on real quick. I created a grapple gun that for my character. So it's like I tried to find one. I was looking at like military grade and all this other shit, and I just couldn't find anything that like really fit my needs. So I was like, oh, here you go. So here, let me zoom in on it.
Oh, the little device right there.
Yeah, this right here. So it sort of like has a kind of like a recoil right here, and it shoots out the front and the back to sort of like give you a zip line. And
it looks like the thing used in the Batman.
Very similar, because I actually looked
at
a
grappling hook.
It's a grappling gun. And here, let me show. Hold on, let me show you another screen over here.
What the?
Okay. Hold on. Let me.
That wasn't me.
That.
No, we don't know who that.
Okay.
Yeah, we know what those two were.
All
was
right, so
not me.
this is a pull from the actual comic that I was using as getting from reference.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows sort of like here's him holding it, and it shoots out of the front and the back, and then there's the blade.
Yeah.
So.
It's like
So yeah. So.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Thank you. But anyway, yeah. So I'm drawing that for it's on the end of the first comic, and I'm done drawing. I'm just going back over and doing continuity fixes, continuity errors,
Final touches,
and then I'll start flatting. But I'm done with the drawing phase of it. So pretty excited and happy about that. So I mean, it's going to take a little bit to color it. But not too bad, because I think all I'm going to do is flat it, add some highlights and shadows, maybe some special effects, and hopefully that should be good enough. So
Nice.
to release. So, but yeah, it's been almost a whole year that I've been working on this thing, but I can only work on it like either early in the morning or late at night or during my lunch breaks or whatever. So I'm just kind of trying to fit it in there. It's like it's a big undertaking when you're doing it on your own. A lot of indie people do, they hire people, but I'm just tackling this all by myself. So
Yeah, but
it's very satisfying though to kind of like see, kind of go through the pages. 22. It's a regular floppy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's definitely gratifying to go back and look and say, oh shit, I did all this, so it's really fun. It's been a cool experience, and we're already starting the foundation for the next book. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Very exciting.
Cool beans.
And how about you, Sean? I know you said you've been working on like video editing tutorials
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And
so I haven't had no editing experience. I just said, screw it. I'm just going to dive into it and I'll just learn as I go. So yeah, I've been getting entrenched in like DaVinci Resolve Studio.
I've never heard of that. What is
it's like
DaVinci Resolve?
It's like a video editing. It's like to create like edit videos, create videos.
Is this like through your phone, or is this through?
No, through my PC.
Okay.
Paid service?
I mean, you buy the software outright, but then it's a one-time thing. Yeah. So it's kind of like Adobe, but it's just
That's what I figured.
So, but this is just
I mean, the only thing that sucks about Adobe is it's subscription based now.
That's why
when I first started working with Adobe, it was the one-time purchase, and it was great. Now. And you can sign off on different computers and do all that shit, and you can of course share it and all that.
Yep. Well, the problem with Adobe though is now when I was looking into that,
Mhm.
it is subscription, and you need
Yeah.
other Adobe plugins in order to do an entire project. At least with DaVinci, it's all in. It's a one-time fee for the software,
Mhm.
and it's all everything you need is in the one program. Whether it's your sound effects, your audio, your video clips, everything is right there in your tabs, and you just bring in whatever sources you want, and you work with it. It's all in the same program. You don't have to send it back and forth to other programs to do something.
Right.
So I literally just said, screw it, I'm just going to dive into this. I with zero knowledge of it and just been trying to self-teach my way through this.
You're like going through YouTube, like tutorials and stuff.
Well, yeah, whether it's that or Googling it, or even going on their page, because they have tutorials on their pages as well, where you actually have the people who created the software are actually giving you the training for the software.
I kind of had to do that with the software I'm using now, which I'm still using Adobe because I'm familiar with it, and so it's quicker for me to just jump in and like, oh, okay, because I use Clip Studio Paint.
Oh yeah,
and that's sort of an industry standard, and I was it's a one-time purchase, so I was like, okay, great, and there's just a lot of different things. It's very versatile, and I like using it. And there's some things in it that I can do faster in Clip than I can do in Photoshop, and vice versa, or Illustrator. And yeah, so it's a pretty good marriage of both. So I think I'm going to do a lot of the special effects in Adobe because I'm just more familiar with it, and I'm more comfortable with it.
And I had no experience in any of them, so that's why it was easy for me to say, okay, I'm not tied necessarily to one program or the other. I can just kind of pick whichever one. And so I went with this one, and I've been happy with it thus far. Again, I'm glad I didn't go with Adobe just because of some of the things we've pointed out here. But yeah, so so right now I'm just got a couple things already created because I'm going to start doing more of like a horror show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of already is that way when you do it with Andre.
Wow. Holy shit.
Wow.
He's asleep. He's like,
so yeah.
Wake up.
So I'm going to do a couple of
unimpressed. Very unimpressed.
But my primary content I want to do is horror content.
Nice.
So I'm just right now just trying to get like intro, outros, things created so I can just kind of hit the ground running. So hopefully like within the next month, because there's a couple other things of content I want to do as well outside of horror. Yeah, but I'll keep those on the side for now. More to come on those. And then last thing I'll mention is Andre and I are starting the Boys season 4 next week. Watch parties for next week. So there's 3 episodes dropping right away. So
yeah, he told me that
Andre and I will
watch all 3 consecutively and then do an hour-long review afterwards. I
know that not to be true.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I know that not to be true. So Andre and I, we've been talking about how that's going to work. But Andre announced that when through his pages and stuff like that, how that's going to roll. But yeah, we got that starting next midnight on Thursday. Wednesday midnight with Thursday midnight was the first episode. So yeah.
What if they drop sooner? Would you guys go live sooner?
That's up to Andre. I mean, I know it's really...
What do you mean?
Well, Andre, you need to make it live.
Yeah,
make it live.
Because the rumor was going to drop on Saturday.
I think they dropped the first 3 episodes early last year. Like they said they were going to drop them at a certain time.
I mean, if they do, they do. I mean, I'm not going to...
Yeah, I'll let. Like I said, I'm all. I mean, whatever works for Andre's schedule, I'll be there. So
okay.
Yeah, but as it stands right now, if they drop on Thursday, then we'll do them on Thursday.
Nice.
Get out of here.
Why'd you kick Sean out? What'd you do?
I know, dude.
Why'd you do that?
You did.
No.
What the fuck?
I just closed out my screen.
Unbelievable.
All right. But I guess for.
So Dawson, back to you.
I did kick Andre.
Only thing I got really going on besides moving and figuring out all that stuff is I'm working on a anime piece right now because I'm tempting the idea of doing an anime con later this year in Kansas. But I'm doing one based off of an anime that my wife and I are watching called Haikyuu, which is a men's volleyball anime, which is actually really awesome. But we recently watched a movie.
I'm here to tell you right now. We don't care.
Let me tell you. We don't care.
I know you don't care, so you shut the hell up.
A men's volleyball anime? How does that exist?
It's awesome.
Is this it?
This is my artwork for it.
Oh, I thought that was the.
I mean, that looks cool, but like, I
Yeah.
never would have thought someone would say we're gonna make an anime based on a beach.
I never would. I never would have either. But like,
there are so many different animes based off so many different Japanese things. It's insane. Like there's one called Hikaru no Go. There's one called there's one based on tennis.
Ryan just left.
There's a lot of insane shit that they base anime off of.
Yeah, there's a basketball one. There's a men's volleyball one. My wife watched this one a lot when she was playing college volleyball, just to like pump her up, because it's a really good show. Really great characters. There's a lot of characters, but a lot of cool team camaraderie stuff going on. Like for me, when I played high school basketball, like this takes me back to that because it's a high school team. There's a lot of different things that are going on. It's actually really dang good. So don't laugh at it.
What the fuck is this?
Don't laugh at it until you try it.
John Cena!
Anyway, this is my artwork that I'm working on for it. I got to color it, but I'm done with the digital inking for it. So should be pretty exciting.
That's pretty cool, though. I like it.
That
I like
image, the art right there looks really good.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, and the left is the main team Karasuno, and the right is the other team Nekoma. They're rivals. They were featured in the movie that just came out last week.
I don't think I've ever seen you draw like anime characters like this.
I've done it a couple of times, but not.
It looks
not
really,
a lot.
It looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is it's really good, man. I mean,
solid.
According to like the other stuff that I've seen in that sort of genre. I've been watching a lot of manga. So
yeah,
a lot of anime.
It was helpful finding like character sheets for all the different characters.
A lot of manga.
Manga.
Anyway,
comic.
Anyway, real quick, actually, we got a $20 super chat from the movie.
Hey, thank you.
Closed out.
Yeah.
Real quick, here's an explosion. Just real quick, we'll address this. Movie Raider says, if George Miller's Justice League Mortal got made and released, do you think it would be a well-received, influential comic movie? Personally, I'm not sure how the general audience would like a college-aged Batman. I mean, if it's going to be similar to what Zack Snyder was doing, I mean, it's kind of hit or miss because, like, people give a lot more grace to George Miller than Zack Snyder, if we're being quite honest. I feel like
no. I mean, you got a cannibal Batman. He would have ate the rest of the Justice League.
Yeah, that's rough.
That was before he was a cannibal, but sure, go on.
I don't know if
he was a cannibal in the making.
I think he'd always been one.
If it got if it got released today, I don't know if it necessarily would. If it had been released maybe a few years back, probably would have been better. It would probably be better received.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
I think
don't know.
It would get well received because the MCU didn't exist. So everyone would have been like,
I mean,
I want to see a movie with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman,
and finally Green Lantern.
I mean, if we talk about, how many comic book movies have we've had out right now and TV shows? Probably 70 to 100 already. So that this right here, it'd have to be completely out there doing something different for it to be received. Otherwise, I don't. It would just fall into the void of it's just another comic book movie that didn't wow me, right? So
right. No, I can agree with that. But thanks for the last second question and super chat.
Man, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Grazie.
Mucha grazie. But with that, we always appreciate you guys tuning in. Another fun hangout session talking about fun, nerdy stuff. And we hope to see you guys next week. Ciao.